Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Umineko. I would say Chapter 6, but we're really just going to be going into the Chapter 6 tea parties, as we just finished the chapter. So let's enjoy, and see what happens after this game, which seems to have ended in a battler win. Any title for the tea party? No? Guess we're going straight in. And let the pair exchange their rings. Oh, we're getting a flashback? Beato took Battler's hand, flash forward, my bad, and put a ring with the seal of the one-winged eagle on his finger. Are you sure? You're already the territory lord. This ring belongs to you, Battler-san. Battler is incompetent in red. It seems to still be relevant, as his first big win is not because he won the game, but because Beatrice won the game for him. Then again, pulling in your allies or having your minions do your winning for you seems to be the main strategy of most of the witches, so why not use it yourself, Battler? You sure? At this rate, the world you created and the tale. Yep. I created this tale because I wanted to be with you. Means the purpose of this world's been fulfilled. So from now on, well, I want you to write this. Continuing tale of you and me. Or he's doing it like that too awkward for you? I'm just pushing the tiresome task of territory lord onto you anyway. It's much easier being the wife where you only have to brag. Yeah, who wants to actually be a territory lord when you could just brag about being one? After all, I just need to play around and wait for you to write a new tale. And of course, for each new tale you write, I'll play any part you need. That's very generous of you, Beatrice. Be it an evil witch or a rival. A lover. Or a wife. Of course, Beatrice wants to play the lover and wife role now. Maybe the evil witch, rival, lover, and wife at the same time. Split herself in two to play all the roles. My tales are pretty intense. You'll be busy from dawn till dusk. Indeed, bring it on. Beato's hand relinquished the ring of the territory lord. From Battler, she received the silver ring with a crest that could only be worn by the wife of the territory lord. The slave ring? When did we introduce this silver ring with a crest that could only be worn by the wife of the territory lord? The only rings we previously had were the territory lord rings and the slave ring. A new device that's been introduced that didn't exist as of 5 minutes ago. As the wife of the territory lord would have been Erica, but she doesn't get that ring. She got the territory lord ring. Only moderately inconsistent, but I guess they wanted a nice silver ring instead of the giant ass gaudy ring. Gotta appeal to the fans, right? You got some new art. They exchanged their rings and their wedding was complete. Then the pair turned around, faced the packed crowd of guests, and raised their rings high. A thunderous applause rang out for them.
今宵の慶事を記念し、領主陛下より叙勲が与えられます。
As a memorial to this night's events, the great territory lord will now recognize the accomplishments of certain people.
呼ばれたる者は前へ。
Let those called come forward. As battlers nod, Beato read the name of the first guest to be recognized.
カノン、
Kanon,
前へ。
come forward.
カノン君。
Kanon-kun! A girl goat pushed her way through the crowd, took off her mask, and yelled. A cloud of gold butterflies gathered before Beato and Battler and took the form of Kanon, kneeling in front of these two nobles. Kanon had already died and vanished, however all the dead revive in the Golden Land.
カノン、ここに。
Kanon, right here.
そなたは、囚われの身となっていた我が夫の危機に対し、
When my husband was locked up and in
こ
danger,
れを救出し、永遠の牢獄に自ら残るという自己犠牲を見せた。
you rescued him and displayed your capability for self-sacrifice by choosing to remain in the eternal prison in his place. Does that mean he's actually in the prison still, and this is just a copy of canon? Feel sorry for that canon.
その献身、叙勲に値する。
Such devotion is deserving of an
よ
award.
って、その身の復活と士官を許可するものである。
Therefore, we will allow for your resurrection as well as your continued service.
はっ、
Ma'am,
ありがたき幸せ。
I'm honored and delighted.
カノン君。ヨシア君。
Yoshia-kun.
ヨシア
Yeah, Erica's dead, so I guess they're like, we need to do something with all this wedding cake and stuff. I guess we'll have a real wedding instead of this farce. Who knows what Lambda Delta and Burncastel are doing, since I think Burncastel fucked off during the confrontation. Jessica raced forward and landed sobbing in Kanon's chest. Kanon patted her head gently and held her.
家具として使えるんじゃないぜ。
You won't be serving as
人
furniture.
間として使えるんだぜ。
You'll be serving as a
そこ
human.
の意味、理解してるよな。
You know what that means?
はい。
Yes. After glancing at Jessica sobbing, he looked at Battler again and nodded forcefully.
そしてもう一組。
Now for the next pair.
後宮ジョージ、並びにシャノン、
Ushirmia George and Shannon,
前へ。
come forward.
はい。
Yes. George and Shannon were the next to be called. Perhaps they already readied themselves. They walked forward boldly and kneeled.
後宮ジョージ、ここに。
Ushirmia George. Here.
シャノン、ここに。
Shannon, here. Alright, well, they're
そ
here.
なたらはゼパルとフルフルの試練を見事最後ま
You
で耐え
two
抜いた。
withstood Zapar and Furfur's trials until the very end.
その見事な功績と愛情、決意と高潔さ
Your
は
great achievements
模
and
範として
affection,
この上なく
your
叙
determination
勲
and
に値
nobility
する。
were exemplary and deserving of a
よって
award.
両名の結婚証明書を陛下の署名にて発行する。
Therefore, your marriage certificate's been issued with the Territory Lord's signature. Alright. Meanwhile, in real life, who the fuck is Ishiramiya Battler? He's not, registered to officiate weddings?
ありがたき幸せ。
Honored and delighted. Well, then.
本証明書は何人たりとも異議申し立てすることはかなわない。
No one will be allowed to object to this certificate? Fair enough.
叙勲者親族一同は心して祝福せよ。
Let the families of those recognized bless their union with all their hearts. It's a big
つ
win
うわ
for
け
them.
だ。
And so,
しがらみは一切なしで、どうか二人に米粒の雨をぶつけて祝福してやってくれ。
now that there's nothing stopping these two, let's all throw rice at them and celebrate.
よっ、
Throw
おめ
rice
でと
at
う
them.
ご両人。
Congratulations, you two. Have some rice. Proceeds to throw rice at their faces. When the Territory Lord clapped his hands in celebration, it spread out throughout the entire cathedral. Then a group of goats in the front line of the crowd took their masks off one by one.
いいこと？
Listen
あ
up,
んまり
okay?
しょっぱいお味噌汁作ったら許さないんだからね。
I'll never forgive you if you make too much salty miso soup.
それからジョージは少し太りやすいから砂糖は控えめに。
Getting a little overweight, so go easy on the sugar.
ジョージ
George is getting
男
pudgy.
は結婚したらな
I see, I see. He's packing on the pounds. Well, that's not good.
親より嫁を大切にせなあかん
George, when a man gets married, he has to treasure his wife more than his parents.
母さんが何を言ってもなシャノンちゃんをしっかり守るんやで
You make sure you protect Shannon-chan. Alright. That was a quick marriage.
当然さ。
Of course. Thankfully, Battler is on whatever high he's on. Of course.
ジョージさん。
George-san. I don't know how high Battler is, but I'm not sure this is a real wedding. It seems completely out of left field for it to be happening in real life.
ジョージはね、きっちり7時間寝ないとダメなのよ。
Anyway, George needs at least 7 hours of sleep. At
夜
least
更かし
7.
させたら許さないんだからね。
I'll never forgive him if you let him stay up late. So what you're saying is, you don't want grandchildren. Notes taken.
背中を流すのも耳の掃除も妻の仕事なのよ。
Don't forget that washing his back and cleaning his ears are also a wife's responsibilities. Yeah, I'm sure he's writing that one down.
そうだったんですか？
Is that
私
true?
としたことが。
What have I done?
仕事内
Apparently been
容
a bad
は
wife.
家による。
A wife's job can vary depending on the family.
ルドルフさん、妻を大事にしてる？
Rudolph, have you been treasuring your wife?
してるじゃねえか。
Of course.
なんでそこ疑うんだよ。
Why would you even doubt that?
お幸せにね、ご両人。
Find
結
happiness,
婚
you
は
two.
ゴールじゃないわ。
Marriage isn't
む
a
しろ
goal.
スタートよ。
It's just a starting line, okay?
おめでとう、おめでとう。
Congratulations, congratulations.
うりゅう、おめでとう。
Good you.
僕たちも負けてられないですね。
You mustn't lose either. Good luck, you two.
絶対負けねえぜ。
There's no way we're losing. I mean, there's a chance you lose. There's a chance. You probably won't, but there's a chance. All the Ishirimiya family, all the servants and all the spirits, and demons in attendance. They celebrated the honorees with an even greater applause.
これにて黄金の魔女によって紡がれる物語は幕を閉じる。
The curtain closes on the tale woven by the Golden Witch.
最後は碑文にて物語を結ぶのが良いだろう。
Perhaps we should finish this tale with the epitaph?
以下は黄金の魔女の碑文より
Following
黄
is the
金鏡の
passage
書
of the Golden Land from the epitaph of the Golden Witch.
魔女は賢者をたたえ4つの宝を与えるだろう。
Which shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures.
一つは黄金鏡のすべての黄金。
One shall be all the gold from the Golden Land.
一つはすべての死者の魂をよみがえらせ。
One shall be the resurrection of all the dead souls.
一つは失った愛すらもよみがえらせる。
One shall be the resurrection of the love that was
一
lost.
つは魔女を永遠に眠りにつかせよう。
One shall be to put the witch to sleep for all time.
安らかに眠れ。我が最愛の魔女。
Sleep peacefully, my beloved wife Beatrice. Alright, Beatrice is gone. The end.
これでベアとは満足して眠りについたってこと？
That is a lot to say for an ellipsis, NJ. That is a lot to say with an ellipsis. So this means Beato was satisfied and put to sleep?
そう解釈するのが妥当であろ
That interpretation is probably appropriate.
それで
And
ゲームはお開きになったからお兄ちゃんは解放されるんでしょ？
now that the game's over, Oni-chan will be released, right? Right? NJ, there's 2 chapters left. I got bad news for you. Something's gonna happen.
お兄ちゃんはどうなるの？
What will we do next?
う。さて、どうなるやら。
Who knows?
そのかけらの書物は、そこまでの物語しか記しておらぬようだ。
The book of this fragment tells no more of the story.
お兄ちゃんがどうなるか結局分からずじまいじゃない。
In the end, we don't even get to see what comes next for him? I guess not. Nothing comes next for him. In the end, Oni-chan and the others never came back. They reached the Golden Land and had a great time together there. Even if the tale tells us that, the truth is that everyone died in that huge accident.
でもいろいろと興味深いことが知れたわ。
Still, we learned a lot of very interesting things.
あの島はやっぱりとんでもない幻想の島なのね。
Since the island really was a crazy island of illusions.
まったくだ。
Indeed.
そして、そなたの朗読は、と
And
て
your
も素晴らしい
reading
も
was
のだっ
truly
た。
wonderful.
なんだかぶっ通して6時間くらい映画を見せられたような疲労感だ
Worn
な。
out, like watching a 6-hour movie all at once.
疲れた。
I'm tired.
後宮エンジェ、
Yushiromiya
本当
Enje,
にご苦労だった。
you have worked truly hard.
我
You've
が
truly
退
worked hard.
屈は、そなたの朗読によって癒され
Your
た。
reading soothed my
このフェ
boredom.
ザリーヌ、数えることも忘れて久しい年月ぶりに、心よりそなたに感謝するぞ。
I, Featherine, am more grateful to you than I have been for many years. That I cannot even remember. Alright.
感謝するなら私にも何か助訓してほしいわね。
Yeah, 6 hours. NJ read that in 6 hours. That's actually quite impressive. Considering I think most of the chapters are taking us like upwards of 20. That said, I don't think NJ actually has to wait for dialogue. And she seems to be discussing things with Featherine a lot less than I discuss with the rest of you guys. If you're grateful, why can't I have some kind of award too?
ふむ。何が良いか。
Oh, what would be good? I mean, we're not that picky, are we? Any old reward should do fine. Right? Surely we're not that picky.
少し時間をもらおう。
Give me some time.
考える。
I'll think. Featherine sat down in a rocking chair and rocked it, apparently trying to think of something.
後宮エンジェ、
Yurmiya NJ,
本当にご苦労だった。
you really worked hard.
よくぞ最後まで朗読に付き合ってくれた。
You've done well to keep reading it for me until the end.
これにて、我が巫女の任を解く。
With this, your responsibilities as my Miko are lifted.
そなたは元の世界に戻り、そなたに与えられた運命を再開するがいい。
To return to your original world and be reunited with the fate you've been given. Would you want to return to your original world? With this fate? Or are we gonna keep reading,
やれやれ
NJ? Sheesh. Or the classic, or as she says, the classic yare yare.
とんだ寄り道だったって感じね。
Feels like this was one hell of a side trip. Yeah, it was a bit of a long side trip, I agree. Are you regretting it?
すねるな。
Don't pout. I don't know if she's
褒
pouting.
美
She
は
just.
今考えている。
I'm thinking of a reward now.
そうだな。たまには少し。
That's something I haven't done much. What, reward people?
いや、もう随分とやっていない。
Or that all for quite some time?
壺
Reward
のインク
someone?
も干からびて炭になっていそうであるな。
I imagine the ink from the bottle is dried up by now. And she's piecing out. Even after the tale ended, NJ and Hachijo's debate over it continued for quite some time. It had been very serious and fiery. Okay. NJ acknowledged that this tale was no crazy literary work, but a new message bottle, which had drifted here once more from the Rockenjima of 12 years previous. Okay. To tell her of one truth. And it seemed as though she'd found her own interpretation of the truth she thought the tale was trying to tell. Okay, of course, that was only one truth. It did not mean an end to her journey. Of course, there is no end to this journey. However, it can be viewed this way. Maybe. It wasn't sufficient to fill the 12-year gap in her heart. However, at that moment, just enjoying the feeling, along with the bitter coffee Hachijo had made, was enough.
ありがとう。最後まで読んでくれて。
Thank you for reading until the end. No problem.
そしてあなたの考えと感想を。
And thank you for your thoughts and opinions.
きっと一番最初の無限の魔女も喜んでいると思います。
I'm sure the very first Endless Witch is happy. Alright.
なんだ、素直にそういうことも言えるじゃない。
You can bring yourself to say stuff like that. Nice things coming out of her? Surprise, surprise.
最初っからそういう口調で喋ってれば、もっとファンも増えるんじゃない？
If you talk like that from the beginning, you'd have tons more fans.
あなたという素晴らしい読者を称えているだけです。
I'm merely praising the wonderful reader you most certainly are.
物言わぬ、考えることもできぬ豚どもに読ませるくらいならば。
I just want to say that spending the time I have left in my life writing for you alone.
あなた一人のために原稿を記す方が、私に与えられた寿命という時間を
It was
よほど有意義に費やせると言いたいだけ。
It was much more productive than writing for those pigs who don't talk and can't think, it would have been. Not a fan of some people, I take it. Really not a fan of a lot of people.
だから、そういうことを言わなきゃいいのに。
This kind of thing you're better off not saying. And yet, here we are, having said it all the same.
ま、一応は褒められたと思っておくわ。
I'll take it as a compliment.
さて、
Alright. I get the feeling I spent a really, really long time here. Like you were in stasis or something. It feels as though I spent a fraction of my life here. Though it should feel uncomfortable sitting here on a sofa in someone else's house. For some strange reason, it feels as familiar as my own home. However, the clock says it's only been about 2 or 3 hours since I met her. The clock says 2 or 3 hours. She says 6 hours. It seems like the 6 hours was the internal time. Interesting. Okay. Featherine said time passed slowly. It looks like it's a 2-to-1 ratio or so. Interesting. I was thinking it would be a little bit more... Time would be a bit more compressed. But let's not complain too much. Time's compressed enough for us to do something. My sense of time feels very strange. She thinks 6 hours. The clock says 2 or 3. So halftime is pretty good.
お連れの方は遅いですね。
Your friend seems to be taking his time.
長電話かしら。
It must be a long phone
男の
call.
くせに気持ち悪いやつ。
It's creepy for a guy to talk that long on the phone. What if he has a girlfriend? Didn't think of that one, did you? He said he was going to make a scheduled report to Okinogi-san, didn't he? Incoming drama? Even though he was told he could use the phone here, he declined and went to look for a public phone somewhere. Might consider it safer that way. Something about how he didn't want to risk being bugged. He's a moron, so I'll let him do what he wants.
公衆電話って遠いんですか？
Is the nearest public phone far?
通りに出てずっと下っていけば
If you
角
go
のお
down the
店にあ
street,
りま
there's
す
a
よ。
store on the corner a short ways down.
これでおいとまします。
And I'll be on my way. I guess we have to go find this guy to hear he's betraying us or something. Who knows?
これ、洋館代にでも。
You can use this to pay for food or whatever.
そのお金をあなたに払ったら
What if I let you keep that
また
money?
来て私の新しい原稿を読んで感想を聞かせてくれますか？
You come again, read my next manuscript, and tell me your opinions?
札束払ってまで、私みたいな可愛くない女に原稿読んでほしいんですか？
You're willing to pay rolls of money to get an uncute girl like me to read your manuscript? Now NJ is just looking, fishing for compliments here. Oh, an uncute girl like me?
いいえ、
No.
あなたは本当に良い、よく考える読者だった。
You really were a good, clear-thinking reader.
あなたのような人を探すために私たちは物語を紡ぎ世に放っているのです。
We create those tales and throw them out into the world in search of people like you.
褒めすぎだわ。
You praise me too much.
私は読書に感情移入しすぎるタイプなだけ
I
よ。
just take books a little too seriously.
この短くない時間を割いてくれたお礼に
Thanks for the considerable time. Thanks for the considerable time you've given to
い
me.
つかきっと
I'll someday
あ
write your
なたの
tale.
物語を書きましょう。
I think I'll pass.
またあんたの偽書に私が登場するの？
Am I going to appear in one of your forgeries again?
今度はマシな殺し方を頼むわ。
I hope you kill me in a slightly better way this time.
あなたは奇跡はお好き？
Do you like
ご
miracles?
都合主義？
You mean like a Deus Ex Machina plot development? I mean, remember guys, when you're reading to Featherine, you're reading aloud to her to entertain her and also discussing it with her. So, reading an entire novel is quite impressive in that length of time. Like, even reading like a full-length novel in like 6 hours is still moderately impressive. Like, that's like... Hold up, I should do some math here. Yeah, that's like 2 pages, that's like what, 2 pages per minute? Let's see, it's like 133 divided by 60. Yeah, 2.2 pages per minute for like... I grabbed literally like the nearest book to me. So you're reading a bare minimum of like 2 to 3 pages per minute, and if you ever stop, you have to read faster. So let's go with like 3 per minute, because she's stopping and discussing any interesting developments. That's a pretty fast reading rate. Because you're now going down to like 20 seconds per page. 20 seconds per page read aloud. That's kind of hard to do. Like I could probably time it to see if I could actually do 20 seconds per page while reading an actual novel.
昔は嫌いだったけど、最近は大歓迎よ。
Miracles, like a Deus Ex Machina plot development? I used to hate them, but recently I've become a big fan. Because they result in you not dying, perhaps?
ただ、口が肥えてるんで、ビルから飛び降りて無傷なくらいじゃ、もう奇跡には入れてないけど。
Still, I've become a bit of a picky eater. Simply falling from a skyscraper and ending up unharmed doesn't quite qualify as a miracle to me anymore. I mean, you've already made me do that, so you need to impress me now at this point. It's like, oh, it's not as impressive once you've already done it. Show me something crazy.
ではそんなあなたが奇跡に思える物語をやがていつか
And perhaps one day I'll write a tale you'll consider a miracle. Looking forward to it.
どうも。突然押しかけて、ひどいことばっかり言ってすみませんでした。
Sorry for barging in all of a sudden and saying all kinds of mean things.
いいえ有意義な対談でしたよ。
No, it's a worthwhile conversation.
編集局長さんにまたあなたとの対談をセッティングしてもらおうかしら。
I wonder if my head editor will set up another meeting between the two of us. Who's our head editor, and is it also a witch?
その機会がまたあるならね。
Sure, if there's another chance for one.
See you again. Have a nice day.
See you again. Have a nice day.
ええまたいつか
Yeah, it might happen sometime.
あなたの真実にたどり着けますよう
I
に。
pray you find your truth.
ありがとう。
Thanks.
もしあなたの真実にたどり着けたなら
You ever do reach a truth of your
あな
own?
たの真実もいつか物語にしてみてください。
Try making that a tale as well someday.
あんたらの魔女仲間になれと
You want me to become one of your witches?
どうかしら。
I wonder.
文字書くの苦手だし。
I'm pretty bad at writing. Well, that's an easy way to be disqualified. Okay, I suck at writing too. Let's just agree to not do any of that. Let people who hopefully know what the fuck they're doing do it.
良き読者が良き執筆者とは限らないわよ。
A good reader isn't necessarily a good writer, you know?
いやいや全く
It's true.
私も人の本は全く読めませんし
I myself can never read anything written by anyone else. Is their writing styles all disgust you?
やれやれ。じゃあ
Sheesh.
これで。
Oh, then I'm off.
あなたとはこれで二度と会わないだろうけれど
After this, I will probably never see you again. Oh, well, then what will our next two stories be?
いつかどこかで別のあなたにまた会える幸運を祈ってい
But I
ます。
pray I'll be fortunate enough to meet another you someday, somewhere. That seems likely.
最後に一つだけ聞いてもいい
Can I ask one last question?
どうぞ。
Go ahead.
物語の中に登場したフェザリーヌって魔女。
The Featherine Witch who appeared within the
あれ
tale.
はあんたよね。
That's you, right? Yep, self-inserts.
語るのもおこがましいですが、そのつもりです。
I may be presumptuous to say, but that was my intention.
こういう質問もおかしいんだけど、その
This might be a strange question, but
あんたがフェザリーヌなの？
are you
フェザリー
Featherine?
ヌがあんたなの？
Or is Featherine you? Are you Featherine or is Featherine you? I think she's Featherine.
さて、
Or sorry. Well, Featherine is her. Oh.
何の話やら。
And what might you be talking about? Who knows? We're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. The mysterious woman was mysterious to the last, and so the day of which I had no memories ended. On the following day I'd take a boat to Nijima. I'd probably never meet her again, however, that just means I won't meet her, so some other me might meet her somewhere down the road. Is that gonna be how we meet the next one? Wait. Just as I have reached several truths, they must also want to reach the truth. So long, Featherine. I pray we never meet again. You ever write a decent story, please call me again. Her stories aren't decent. If I'm free, I might drop by.
おかげさまで
Getting two new backgrounds there. That was interesting. Okay, no
こ
problem.
んな豪勢なエスコートは初めてですぜ。
Most luxurious escort job I've had yet.
おこのぎの旦那も招待したいくらいだ。
I'd almost like to invite you along, sir.
遠慮する。
Pass on
もう
that.
俺は年だ。
You know how old I am.
飛んだり跳ねたりは卒業したぜ。
I'm done running around all over the place. The person on the other end of the line was Okanogi. Yep. Okanogi was also a man who tended to move from place to place, so it hadn't been easy to catch him, even on the phone.
こっちはクールな旅をしてますんで、今んところ飛んだり跳ねたりの必要はありません。
Our trip's been pretty cool, right? Right now, there's no need to run around. Good evening, my friends.
スマデラカスミが死に物狂いで探している。
Simadare Kasumi is searching for you like mad.
情報屋の話じゃ。すでに六軒島への足まで用意させてるらしい。
According to our informants, she's already gotten a ride to Rockinjima.
鉢合わせするぜ。
You'll bump into her there.
予定通りです、ね。
Just as planned.
せいぜい5、6人前後のグループだろう。
It'll likely be 5 or 6 people at most. Dude, the fact that he brought the obvious black duffel bag with a gun in it made that so obvious. That he already knew this was here. This isn't new information. My day is going well.
武装もおそらく
So I'm worried about tomorrow. Tomorrow is a concerning day. The weather is so bad. I have to drive. I have to do a lot of driving tomorrow. For Christmas. Alright, they'll probably be armed with nothing more than handguns.
お前の敵じゃない。
They're no match for you.
好きに暴れろ。
Feel free to run wild. Do some crazy shit. That's not a gun, it's magic. That's right, he didn't use a... That's right, it was magic, not gun fu. My bad. I shouldn't lie. I shouldn't tell lies like that. They all use, NJ uses magic to kill all the guards. And Kasumi.
だが確実に殺せ。
Make sure you kill
お
them.
前好みのおもちゃは用意できたか？
Were you able to acquire one of your favorite toys? Siesta 50?
もちろん。
Of course.
旦那もよくこんなもんが国内で手配できるもんだ。
I'm surprised you managed to arrange for it in this country. Behind Amakusa was the rental car they'd borrowed under a false name. Inside of which was now a black golf bag.
スマデラ本家も了承済みだが、終わったらとっとと日本を離れろ。
The Simadera family's already given the okay, but make sure you get out of Japan as soon as you're done.
今度は成田でカップ麺を箱で買うのを忘れるんじゃねえぜ。
Don't forget to buy your cup ramen by the box in Narita before your flight out.
今度は気をつけますって。
I'll take care this time.
ちょろい仕事です。
It's an easy job. Yeah, that means don't fuck it up.
あと、例の件も
Also,
分かってるよな。
you do understand about that, right?
例の
That?
件。
What is that of which they speak?
はて。
I'm not sure what you
何の
mean.
ことやら。
とぼけやがって。
Playing dumb, are we?
まあ
Apparently.
いいさ
That's
お
fine.
前はなんだかんだ言って、昔から俺の期待を裏切らない男さ。
Despite how you talk, you've never betrayed my expectations in the past. Take care, my dude.
お前さえ容量が良けりゃ、手を汚さずに済
If you're clever about it, you may not even have to get your hands dirty.
む。いくらでもやりようがあるさ。
Yeah, there should be plenty of ways to handle that. Okay. Plenty of ways to handle what the shooting
何の
part?
話か分かりかねま
I'm
す
not
ぜ。
sure what you're talking about. I'm not either.
エンジェちゃんもかわいそうな子なのは分かってんだ。
But I can make guesses. I realize NJ-chan is a child to be pitied.
ならそうと、真相の令状らしく振る舞ってくれりゃいいんだが。
Alright. Merry Christmas, my friend. Take care. If only she could have stayed true to that and acted the part of a secluded young
エ
lady.
ヴァさん亡き後、俺たちは結束していくことで合意してんだ。
When we decided to join forces after Eva-san's death, we reached an agreement.
みこしは大事だが、少々よろしくない。
This little portable shrine of ours is important, but she's also a liability.
世界平和のためにもな。
This is for the sake of world peace as well, okay?
流れ次第ってことですぜ。
So watch and see how it goes.
スマデラの黒服がマシな銃の撃ち方をしてくれりゃいいんだが。
I hope those Sumadera black suits know how to shoot a gun right.
なんです旦那。
What is it, sir? Sir?
まさか、ほんの数日の逃避行で、
Don't tell me. After that, after a few days on the run,
エンジちゃんとできちまったわけじゃねえだろうな。
you and NJ-chan have already hooked up?
あ
Nah,
んなちちくせえ小娘に強情だ
me and
な
that。bratty girl, please.
いや、俺は別にいいんだぜ。
Well, it's not like I care. I mean,
お
he
前
doesn't
も
care.
ようやく女にちょっかいを出すくらいには吹っ切れたってことじゃねえか。
It just means you finally managed to break free now if you can finally take passes at girls,
一人や
right?
二人でうじうじしてたら身が持たねえぜ。
Half the world is made of women. You'll never last if just one or two of them make you freeze up. He's thinking about it. He's thinking
お
about
っ
it.
と、噂すりゃなんとやらだ。
Ooh, speak the devil. Gotta go.
お
buddy.
嬢が来ました。
She's here.
そんじゃこれで。
Guess that's all for today.
新島の宿に着いたら連絡しますぜ。
I'll contact you after I reach our lodgings on Nijima.
それじゃ。
Later. Flick. NJ was walking down the street. Why'd she have to do that when I told her to wait for me to come back? If only she wasn't like this, she might have lived a long life.
ずいぶん長電話だったのね。
That was a pretty long call.
待ち疲れたからおいとましてきたわ。
I was so tired of waiting that I left.
すみませんすみません。
Sorry about that.
お嬢はどうでした
How was it for you, lady?
何か面白いことは分かりましたか
Learn anything interesting? Oh, we learned many interesting things. Wouldn't you like to know? Actually learned an okay amount.
面白かった。
It was interesting.
収穫はそれだけよ。
I've harvested all I needed. Time to get gone then?
そいつはクールだ。
Sounds cool. Yeah, he's just gonna be like that. Alright. Cool. Cool. After Makaza opened the passenger's side door, NJ got in the car. Makaza quickly went around to the driver's seat.
んじゃ港へ向かいます。
Let's head to the harbor.
旦那の情報じゃスマデラ家が網を張ってるらしいですぜ。
According to the old man, the Sumadera family has set up a net. That's going to be inconvenient, but only inconvenient. I'm sure we can get past that one.
それに引っかかるようなら、私の運もその程度。
If we do get caught, that's a measure of my luck. What it is. I suppose.
引っかからないなら、六軒島は
If we
私を待ってるわ。
Then Rockinjima awaits me.
任せましょう、運に。
Let's leave it all to luck. Trust in luck. Luck will see us through.
うんか。
Luck, is it?
どうするか決めかねているとき、
When you can't decide what to do.
あるいはどうでもいいとき、
Or when it doesn't matter either way.
コイントスのように運命に身を任すのも悪いことじゃないわ。
Not so bad to entrust your fate to a coin toss.
へへ。なら俺もそいつに任せてみますかね。
I guess I'll try leaving it to luck too then.
嫌いじゃねえや、そういうの。
Gotta admit, I'm kind of a fan of that kind of
ボディ
thing.
ーガードが運任せとか言い出したわ。
Oh, great. My bodyguard just said he's gonna leave everything to luck.
最悪。
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm sure things will be fine. Just leave it to luck.
旦那との電話のせいですっかりオチを読み損ねちまった。
I had to leave for that phone call, so I totally missed the clincher.
あの後どうなったんですかい？
What
聞
happened
かせ
after
て
I
くだ
left?
さいよ。
Let's hear it.
嫌よ。
Nope.
教えないわ。
I'm not telling. Guess you
そり
had to
ゃ
have been
残
here.
念。
NJ knows how to shut down. Maka says flirting. Yeah, she's pretty good at that. Although I think it's more because she doesn't look for people that way. At least right now. Damn shame. Car dashed through the hilly town. The car wouldn't return to Hachijo's house for all eternity. However, NJ didn't get sentimental about it. For now, she just wanted to silently consider the new message bottle that the current endless witch Hachijo Toya had given her. In the rearview mirror, the town where a witch lived faded off into the distance. However, that scene wasn't reflected in NJ's eyes. Right? There we go. Tea party done. We kind of just had the post credits to like the reading section. All right. I don't mind that too much. That seems okay. All right, witch's tea party. Let's go. No delays. Time to consort with some witches. No way that goes
Lambda.
badly.
どこ？
Lambda, where are you? Ah, okay. The villains slash Lambda and Burn regrouping. This makes sense. I can get behind them doing this section for the Witch's Tea Party. After all, we need to know what our villains are up to, right? Can't just have them running around freely. Yeah, we've had all our happy endings. Battler and Beato are happy and married. Although I guess Beato might be dying or something. Who knows? We gotta see where we're going. The other two witches haven't yet been defeated. Just having to say that it felt like admitting defeat, and I didn't like it. Asking where Lambda feels like admitting defeat? What? Okay. Or is it because you're implying you don't know where Lambda is? And it could be Lambda playing a trick on you. I guess I can see that being the case. Why is it that she's always so obnoxious and clingy when I don't need her? And then she won't answer when I call her by name. Well, them's the breaks, I guess. Sorry. Now where am I? Annoyed by the completely predictable ending, I'd left the cathedral. It was kind of mid. It was kind of mid once Erica was getting overthrown. I'd planned on finding some terrace with a cool night's breeze to kill time on until the end of that farcical reception.
確かに人の顔を見たくなかったから人気のない方へばかり進んだけど
It's true, I tried to find somewhere desolate so that I wouldn't have to look at
さす
people.
がにこれはいないにも程があるわ
This is a bit ridiculous. Went a bit too far, did we? I, the great Burn Castell, am lost. Wasn't expecting that one. No, were you? It's okay, neither was I. The great Burn Castell is lost? What happened? A miracle like that certainly wouldn't happen. So, you're saying it's certain you got lost? I mean, there is a wish of certainty involved in all your business. Yes, miracles don't exist in this world. Weren't you just preaching of their existence not a short minute ago? To create a miracle, you need an amount of time that can never be reached, a period that's no different from infinity. So, when something happens that appears to be a miracle and it happens in a shorter span of time than that, it's not really a miracle. I see. Salty at our loss. We've all been there. Yeah. It's the product of someone's design. So, whose design is it then? Are you implying that it's your own design? In other words, the reason I'm walking down this corridor is because someone's design has forced me here. Is this the power of the Witch of Certainty at last?
誰？
Who?
こんな手の込んだ真似で私を呼ぶのは。
Who pulled such a complicated prank
よ
on
っ
me?
ぽどの恥ずかしがり屋みたいね。
Seems you're quite the sly one.
こんな人気のないところに呼び出すんだから。
Calling me out to a desolate place like this? And then from the other side of the dark corridor, I heard a sound. Some sort of patter or pitter patter. All right, some feet, a whole bunch. It sounded as though some small animal, like a dog or a cat, was walking at a quick pace. No miracle would cause a dog or cat to be in a place like this. Such a miracle would not be allowed. Since it isn't a miracle, that means I'm being guided in that direction. Very well. This might be some new theme to keep me entertained. If this is some new joke of Lambda's, I'm gonna cover her whole body with honey using my tongue as a reward. Then I'll stick parasol chocolates in her eyes and tell her to never do it again. I wasn't quite sure if she was gonna be happy or disappointed or irritated. It seems like she's leaning towards irritated. Definitely irritated. In the direction the noise came from, it was not only dim but shrouded in complete darkness. However, I could sense something in that darkness. Something familiar? Unfamiliar? Tell me more. However, I could... Oh, just sense something. Just something. Ooh, a pair of eyes. Two green glints. Probably cat eyes. Emerald green cat eyes. Alright. The eyes of a black cat that peered through the darkness.
あなたが呼んだの？
Are you the one who called me here?
それとも、あなたが使い？
Or are you just the messenger? When I looked at my feet, I saw red cat footprints leading towards those cat eyes. The marks were unsettling, as though the cat had run through a pool of blood. When my eyes adjusted to the darkness, and even with the lack of light, I was vaguely able to make out these red footprints. They weren't actually glowing or anything, but they served perfectly well as a signpost leading me onwards. The eyes flash again. Interesting. Patter, patter, patter. The cat walking in front of us, perhaps? As though it was telling me to follow. There we are. Cat turned around and dashed off into the darkness. What is it? Something feels strange. It's a feeling I haven't felt since I began calling myself the cruelest witch in the world. I can't quite remember what this feeling is. It's silly for one as tired of boredom as me. I followed the bloody footprints of the cat, which would sometimes stop and look at me. Back at me. And walked on and on through the dark corridor. Where are we going? Forward. Turn. Head down what appear to be stairs from time to time. And then, though I couldn't really tell because of the darkness, it went in through the crack of a door.
ここ
Here. Well, that's not telling me anything. I pushed the door open slowly, but it was dark on the inside, just like the corridor. Is Bernkastel suddenly going to be slain? That would be a little bit jarring, wouldn't it? However, the air and the slight change in the echoes made by the footsteps told me that it was a room, not a corridor. The sound of the cat's footsteps were gone. However, the bloody footprints remained. On the other side of some sort of wooden screen under what looked like a small spotlight, there was the same black cat gobbling down some blood-stained pet food. I see. So this is its reward for bringing me here.
猫
Cat,
お食事中悪いけれど
sorry to bother you during your meal,
そろそろあんたの主人を呼んでちょうだい
but I'd like you to summon your master.
それともまさかあんたが私を呼んだ本人ってわけじゃないわよ
That
ね
is, unless you're the one who summoned me? Talking to it didn't cause it to turn around. Well, I guess it is an animal eating its food, after all. If I kick it away, it'll probably run off to its owner. When I did kick the cat, it sailed away like a stuffed animal. It hit the wall and fell to the ground. Then it vanished, melting into the darkness. We kick it, it vanishes. What is with this cat? Is it just an illusion? When I looked at its food plate, it was piled up with what appeared to be blood-drenched raw meat. Hamburger. It was as though someone had torn apart living flesh on the spot and piled it up there.
なんなのこの趣味の悪い艦隊は
The creepy reception.
蹴るとはひどいことをする
That was a mean thing to do, kicking it. It's Bernkastel. It's kind of what you expect, isn't it? The instant I heard that voice, the hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. Here we go. Then the surrounding area finally brightened. However, Bernkastel had already guessed where it was before it grew bright. Ah, Featherine. Featherine's room, at least. And Featherine! Speak of
そなたであ
the
ろうが
witch? That was you, was it not?
その猫は
That cat?
肉を食らい選ぶ道もあることを学んだ猫よ
A cat that has learned how to eat meat and can sometimes choose its own path.
久しぶりであるな
Been a long time.
あんたが教えなきゃ気づかずに済んだ道よ
Path I might never have had to know about if you hadn't told me.
肉の味を教えた化け物
You're the monster who taught me the taste of
生き
flesh.
返ったのね
So you've come back to life.
フェザリーヌ・アウアウローラ
Featherine, ow, 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 Aurora. Ow, ow. Ow, ow. What a name. She's like, I really like ow, ow. So I'll just call myself Ow, Aurora. Ow, ow, Aurora. That's a unique one. Hadn't considered that.
アウグストス・アウローラであ
There
る
we go. Augustus Aurora. It's tall Hanyu.
そなたには何度教えても覚えぬな
You never learn, no matter how often I tell you that.
よい
Very well. What's that supposed to mean?
それもまた懐かしい。
Even that brings back fond memories.
噂は聞き及んでいるぞ。
I've heard the rumors.
奇跡の魔女ベルンカステルを名乗り、あまり褒められぬかけら遊びをして回っているとな。
Seems you've taken the name Berncastel, Witch of Miracles. Ooh, shiny. Oh,
あんたの真似を到底及びやしないけれど。
So, you've been playing a far from praiseworthy fragment game, apparently. Oh, I'm just imitating you, though I could hardly match up to your level.
もし私の噂がよからぬものならば、あんたはそれに100をかけるべきだわ。
The rumors you've heard about me are bad that applies 100-fold to you. Someone even worse than Berncastel. Just what we wanted to see, right? Yeah, of course. Berncastel sat unreservedly in an antique chair. As though she was already familiar with the place. Okay.
何を怯えているか。
What are you afraid of?
私はこれまでで最も長く過ごした巫女との再会を喜んでいるだけであろうが。
I'm merely celebrating my reunion with my longest-serving Miko so far. I have no clue.
使いの猫がそんなにも気に入らなかったか。
You really find my messenger cat so displeasing? Berncastel's manner seemed completely relaxed. However, Featherine admonished her, telling her not to be afraid. Judging by the expression that had risen to Burn's face, Featherine had been right on the mark.
私に対する当てつけにも程があるわ。
You really have to make such blunt insinuations against me?
血の足跡を残しながら歩き、血まみれの肉を頬張る猫なんてね、露骨にも程があるのよ。
A cat leaving behind bloody footprints, stuffing its face with blood-stained meat. That seems to be what she's saying, and? No comment? Have no fear. That's the response. Have no fear. Alright.
よく見よ。
Look closely.
血まみれの肉を頬張る猫などどこにいる？
You see any cat stuffing its face with meat?
そなたを迎えに行った褒美にビスケットの皿を与えただけではないか。
I mean, I just gave it a plate of biscuits as a reward for going to get you. It was as though soot covering the plate at her feet was blown away even though there was no wind. There lay an adorable and perfectly normal cat dish with a pile of small biscuits on top of it. Berncastel didn't even hide her displeased grimace. Featherine shrugged and muttered, "You haven't changed, child of man," as she rocked her rocking chair. I take it she's not
相
a
変
big
わらず
fan.
不愉快なやつだわ。
I see you're as unpleasant as ever.
でもね、
But
今
I'm
は
happy
愉
now.
快よ。あんたの真似をしてるとね、本当に退屈しないわ。
Imitating you really has been far from boring.
なじれ好きに。
Hold me as you
かつて
please.
別れに際しそなたに許した置き土産だ。
It's the parting gift I gave you when we last met.
口の悪い巫女は退屈しないから好き。なんだっけ？
You liked rude Mikos because they kept you entertained, right?
バカバカしい。
Ridiculous.
あんたを喜ばせるくらいなら口をつぐむわ。
If talking will only please you, I'll shut up. Not a big fan, I take it.
それで何の用？
So, what do you want with me?
ベアトリーチェのゲームがバトラの勝利によって終わったそうだな。
It seems Beatrice's game has ended with Battler's victory.
感激していた。
I observed it.
なかなか面白かった。
It was quite amusing.
私が無様な役でそれは面白かったでしょうよ。
I'm sure you liked seeing me fail miserably. I don't know if that's the case.
とんでもない。
Nonsense.
なかなか光栄であった。
It was a splendid performance. Oh, she didn't have a problem with that? Alright.
ベアともそなたに感謝しているだろ
I'm sure Beato is very grateful to you.
それで
And?
ベアとのゲームのかけらを朗読しろって言うならお断りよ。
You want me to read out fragments of Beato's game to you? I refuse.
私はもうあんたの巫女じゃない。
I'm not your Miko anymore.
う。私はベアとのゲームをすべて感激してきた。
I've observed all of Beato's
ラム
games.
ダデルタのゲームも、バトラのゲームも、
I also
興味
watched
深く感激させてもらった。
also watched Lambda Delta's game and Battler's game with great interest.
一応すべての謎に、私なりの答えを用意できたつもりでいる。
I believe I've formed an answer for all the riddles in my own
犯
way. The culprit,
動機、
the motive,
個別のトリック、
the individual trick.
碑文の謎は最後がギリギリわからぬが、
I am not quite clear about the very last part of the epitaph's riddle.
私が実際に六軒島に行き、検証すればわかる程度のレベルまでの推理は持っている。
I have enough of a theory, though. If I actually went to Rockenju and investigated, I should be able to resolve that part as well.
それで
And
無論、真実は一つでない以上、私の推理も許される可能性の中の一つに過ぎぬだろう。
of course, since there is no single truth, my theory is probably only one of many possibilities.
しかし、
Over.
それは可能性の範囲内であり、さまつな問題だ。
It's only a question of possibility is a trivial problem.
何よあんた。
What are you up to? Why, nothing, of course. Featherine's kind of just bored waiting for something else to happen.
私とベアとのゲームの論争がしたいの？
You want to debate Beato's game with me?
違う。
Wrong.
したいのは答え合わせだ。人の子よ。
What I want to do is look at the answers, child of man. I have my guesses, and now I want to see if I'm right? Okay. Seems fair. The words of Featherine's made Burncastel straighten up. Her old master did not fail to notice that small reaction.
そなたも出演者として参照のように物語を盛り上げてきた。
So far, you've spiced up the tale as an actor.
その過程で多くの真実も知るだろう。
In doing so, you've come to know many truths.
しかし、ベアトが巧みに隠してきたいくつかの謎については、
However,
そなたも知らぬのではないか。
even you are likely unaware of the truth behind several riddles that Beato has cleverly kept hidden, correct?
なるほど。
I see.
私にまた腹渡を食いちぎって引きずり出す役をやらせたいのね。
You want to use me to chew apart and string up the guts of something again?
感激を終えればパンフレットを読み、舞台裏を知るのは
After watching a play, reading a pamphlet and learning what goes on behind the scenes is similar to, as you
そ
would
な
say,
た風に言うなら食後にたしなむ紅茶のようなものだ。
enjoying some black tea after a meal.
それはたしなみだが欠かすことはできぬ。
That enjoyment cannot be left undone.
生きてるうちはめでて遊んで、死んだら肉を食らってご機嫌満腹。
You like to play with them and love them while they're alive and eat their flesh when they die.
あんたにとって猫は二度役に立つわけだわ。
So cats are doubly useful to you.
死ね、化け物。
Just die already. Come on.
答え合わせがしたい。
I want to look at
そ
the
なた
answers.
も知りたいはずだ。
I'm sure you want to know them. Burn does. ベアトの
interesting.
亡
亡骸を葬ると思い、その葬儀を そなたに執り行ってほしいということだ。
Think of it as a burial for Beato's corpse where you're in charge of the service.
それならばどうか、人の子よ。
What do you say to that, child of man?
多少は私好みな頼み方になってきたわ。
Now you're starting to speak my language. When Featherine snapped her fingers, a thin spotlight appeared on the table, which was covered with cluttered books. There lay a folded version of the game board for Beato's game. The Witch of Theater going spun her finger in a circle and the game board opened up by itself. It showed the black and white pieces lined up inside of it.
ゲーム盤も駒もすべて揃っている。
Game board and all pieces are gathered here. Shall we play a game?
過去のゲームの寄付もすべて揃っている。
The records for the previous games are all present as well. With a rustling sound, the book flipped through all its pages of its own accord, front to back, shut itself and flew to the side of the game board where it waited. Inside, all the movements of the pieces during previous games were recorded.
なるほど。
I
足り
see.
ないのはプレイヤーと解説者だけってわけ。
You were short a player and commentator.
紅茶も足りぬな。
We're also short on black tea,
梅干しも足りぬか。
and similarly with dried
も
plums.
ちろん用意しよう。
Of course, I will find some.
いいわ。
Alright.
それにからし大福もつけてくれたら手を打つわ。
If you add some mustard rice cakes, we'll have a deal.
交渉は成立だ。
Negotiations are concluded.
条件が一つ。
I have but one condition.
ほう。それは何か。
And what might that be?
朗読者は私よ。
I'll be the reader, okay?
私。愛がないからいろいろとおかしな解釈をしてしまうかもしれない。
Have no love, so a few things might be interpreted in an odd way.
でもどう読むか、どう抑揚をつけるかは朗読者の自由よ。
But the reader is free to read things in a manner and with an intonation of her choosing.
私は答え合わせがしたいだけだ。
I'm only interested in checking the
物語
answers.
になど興味はない。
Not particularly interested in the tale
そな
itself.
たがどんな物語を紡ごうと全く興味がない。
I'm not deeply interested in what sort of tale you'll
なる
bring.
ほど。
Yes.
ようやくそなたが何をしたいのか。
Now I see what you're after.
飲むでしょ。
Do you
条件。
accept that condition?
いいだろう。
Very well.
私は答えが知りたい。そなた
I
は
want
鬱
to know the
憤を
answer.
晴らしたい。
You have your grudge to worry
交
about.
渉は成立だ。
And the negotiations are concluded. When Featherine snapped her fingers once more, a large chair appeared as though beckoning Burncastel to sit there. It was a throne, a horribly mismatched one with furnishings of this with the furnishings of this room. Hey, look, Battler's image. Wait, I've seen this before. This is.
認めようぞ。座るがよい。
I acknowledge it. You may sit.
ゲームマスターはそなただ。
You are the game master. Congratulations,
いい
you've
の
been.
ね。
Are you sure?
本当に。いいのね。
Are you really sure?
そなたの鬱憤が晴れるような好きな物語を紡げばいい。
You can create whatever sort of tale you like to satisfy your grudge.
私には興味ないことだ。
I'm not interested.
ただし、私からも条件を一つ。
However, I have one condition as well.
私の求める答え合わせをすべてせよ。
Answer all the questions I ask.
隠し事も、包み隠しも、ごまかしも、
No
一
hiding
切
secrets.
なしだ。
No keeping secrets, hiding, dodging the question. I mean, she's just here to get her answers, right?
任せなさい。
Leave it to me.
腹渡引き裂いて中身をすべて引きずり出すのは私の最も得意とするところ。
Tearing up guts and dragging them out is my specialty. So you're saying is you're down for it. I see, okay. Well then, it looks like we're all ready to have
あ
another
んたの
witch's
仕
tea
込み
party.
だもの。
After all, you trained me. Let's have some fun then.
紅茶を入れよ
Make some black tea.
う。魔法でなく、私自らの手で
We'll
な。
use our own hands, not magic.
主が巫女に茶を入れて信ぜようぞ。
Let the master treat their Miko to some tea.
かつてベアトは私に紅茶を飲むなら魔女とに限ると言ったわ。
The old Beato told me that witches are the best ones to have black tea with.
我らにはどうやら違うようだな。
Well, it seems that rule doesn't apply to us. Are you not good to have tea with? Please explain. At some point, that dish piled with biscuits had once again been covered with a mountain of torn apart meat and a splatter of red. Not just meat, even the bowels.
紅茶を飲むなら
Black tea is best enjoyed.
化け物同士に限るわ。
Your fellow monsters. In other words, time for some fun. And staff, roll credits. Hey, that was pretty simple, straightforward. Ah, there are lyrics playing in the background of this song now. Instead of simply playing, there's dialogue. Wonderful. Wonderful. So the next game, meta-wise, doesn't include Battler or Beato. It's just burn. It's just burn and feathering. Giving out to make sure all their information about Beato is correct. Okay. Very interesting. I suppose now the question is, do we start chapter 7 now? That was actually a short tea party. And witch's tea party. Yeah, last time I said the tea parties were always long. Especially that last tea party, and then this one's really short. Oh. Guess I'm eating my words. That one was really short.
では、駒の準備を始めるわ。
In that case, let's get the pieces ready.
投資番号で言うと、第7のゲーム。
If we keep the count, it'll be game 7, right?
そうなる。
Indeed.
縁起のいい数字だ。
Fortuitous number.
それはベアトにとってではないわね。
But not for Beato, right? Berncastel slowly picked up a black piece. It was the piece that represented Beatrice. Sometimes it was a king, sometimes a queen, and it could become a knight. A very flexible piece, wow. However, that was only if it got promoted. I see. Until then, it's only a trash piece, like a pawn. First comes the placing of the pieces. By this point, the witch's game had already begun. Berncastel took Beato's piece and raised it high.
初手、配置。
First move, placement.
D8、ベアトリーチェ。
Beatrice on D8. When the seagulls cried, there were no survivors. That's correct, right? It's E8 and it's D8 and D1 for placements of kings. I've been told to check characters so we can see Erica's death screen. Apparently she has a unique screen, so we'll once over that when... Ooh, new main menu. Very shiny. The interface took a second to pop up. Okay. I think that's in tips. Episode 6 tips? Erica? Fell from a pleasure boat and is currently missing due to the Rakanjima explosion incident that occurred shortly after her accident went completely forgotten. Explosion? Explosion! Her family says she might have drifted to Rakanjima and gotten involved in the accident, but no evidence suggesting she was ever on the island could be found. Foragers who know this accident often theorize she drifted onto Rakanjima and included her in the illusion of the witch. Well, I did theorize a while back that everyone died due to an explosion. That's why they had to recover stuff from the island rather than just living on the island or selling it. And why it was sealed off. So, not entirely surprised. Alright. The few who know the accident often theorize she drifted into Rakanjima and include her in the illusion of the witch. I theorize that everyone died in an explosion. Looks like that's the case. Alright. The classic, everybody was dead regardless, the end. People who don't die can't be executed. Can we still play games and find the Shiester sister? Or wait, what do we have to do for Shiester sisters? $5.56. Resurrected. That's lame. Yep, looks like 556 is still around. What if Witch version dies? Provisional Witch of Truth, what happens if you die? When she dies, she ceases to be. Okay. Gap and Battler don't die. Ooh, what happens if Beato dies? Nope, can't kill them. Alright. And then back to these guys. No Hamburger NJ, unfortunately, for those of you who like that. She can transform from Hachijo into Featherine only by clicking down there. Is there anyone else that can be changed that way? I don't think so. Oh, here we go. She just has her alternative sprite, the wedding dress. Okay. I was going to say, I don't remember anyone else really having that feature, but since I noticed it, we may as well double check that no one else has it. I assume no one else here should have that feature, since they're all clearly known entities. Yeah, okay. Oh, interesting. We got time. Let's dig into Chapter 7, boys. After all, I welcome you once again to Umineko. Chapter 7. Let's start this up. How is the new world? Oh, good morning. Oh, shit. I forgot there was a reading for the start. Well, we know how the story is set up. It's a battle, or less a battle and more of a story. From Burn Castle
土は
to
土に
Feathering. Earth to earth.
灰は灰に
Ashes to ashes.
塵は塵に
Dust to dust.
幻は幻に
Illusions to illusions. Adding a nice spin on it. Dreams to dreams.
夢とは寄せては返す波間のまさごに描くもの
A dream is something drawn in the sand between the coming and receding
それは
waves.
波が寄せるたびに真っ白に戻ってしまう儚き
Something
も
so
の
fragile that it's wiped blank every time a wave comes in.
だから心なき人はそれを描くことを無駄なことだと嘲笑うだろう
The heartless might sneer, saying that drawing such things is useless and meaningless. Ah. This is the title. I'll read it now. Requiem of the Golden Witch. Good morning. Today is the day of the funeral for the Golden Witch and her game. The days of the game have ended, and fond memories are all that remain. Here, the cold, hard truth will be revealed, and the game will meet its death. There is a bit of difficulty. Okay. An interesting title for the game.
しかしも彼女の描いた夢を消す波は二度と訪れない
However, no wave will come again to wipe away the dream she drew. Beato's game?
彼女が最後に描いた美しき夢はもう永
Now,
遠に消えることはない
that final beautiful dream of hers will not disappear for all eternity.
さあさあ思い浮かべてごらんなさい
Try and picture it. Time for some magic, that's what I'm hearing.
それは暖かき春の日の柔らかき午後の日差しが
It's as though the rays of the gentle afternoon sun on a warm spring
そ
day.
のまま陰ることを忘れたかのよう
They simply forgot to grow dim ever again.
それはとてもとても素敵なことなのだから
Such a wonderful
あ
thing.
なたの最後の夢の立ち会いに
Witness to your final
プ
dream.
ブリウス・ワルギリア・マロ
Publius Virgilia Mara. The suspects were gathered in a room, and several inquisitors of heresy were reporting on the results of their investigation. Oh, this is a new background. That's interesting. Their uniforms closely resembled those of Einser and Jungfrau, but they were slightly different. Also different were the badges signifying their department. Then came the sound of someone clapping their hands once. It was the lead female inquisitor. She was announcing all reasoning had been completed.
近景以上にて明々白々
As has been shown, it is all
以
quite
上の
clear.
推理からあなたのアリバイが存在しないことの証明を終えるものなりや
Note that the preceding logic has proven the non-existence of your alibi. At the other end of her pointing finger was a quivering maid with frightened eyes. Her name was... No, that's not important. What matters now is that she could have entered the closed room study where the victim was found whenever she pleased. And furthermore, that her claimed alibi for the time of the crime had been proven to contradict the facts. Ooh, that's not good. Someone's about to get the axe from the witch hunters. Shaking, the maid tried to continue in her illogical pleading, but all of her statements had already been seen through.
以上にてフーダニットハウダニットの証明を完了するものなりや
With this, we conclude our proof of the whodunit and the howdunit.
あなたが犯人である事実は揺るがぬものと知りたまえ
Know that your position as the culprit is now an unshakable fact. These inquisitors are kind of shit, so in our experience so far, these inquisitors have been kind of shit at actually finding the real culprits, so is the author's intention to make me think these people are lying once again? I'm curious.
そんな
You must be joking.
どうして私が敬愛する旦那様を殺さねばならないのですか
Why would I kill the master I loved and respected so?
動機がありません理由がありません
I have no reason, no motive.
誰がいかにして犯したか
Who and
それの
how?
みが立証できれば十分であると知りたまえ
Know that establishing these is more than sufficient. Well, that's the same dialogue we used last time in chapter 5 too. Interesting.
近景謹んで申し上げる
Allow me to speak.
ミステリーに 動機は不要であると知りたい。
Know that. Motives are unnecessary in mysteries. The Inquisitor spoke coldly. Virgilia just chilling out here. After finishing her witch's prayer, Virgilia stepped back from the coffin, which lay on an altar bedecked with many beautiful roses. In her place, Battler moved to the front of the coffin wearing his territory lord's cape. Though the cape was supposed to represent dignity and majesty, it somehow made Battler look smaller. Battler held a book with a majestic binding in its hand. It was a game record that had just been written. Or perhaps it was a tale. A game. Or else a fragment? Written and it was the dream that would be more enjoyable for her than any other. Battler pressed it against his forehead and contemplated for some time. Then he kissed it and laid it gently on the coffin. A new story for a new waifu? Or I guess your dead waifu. It rested on her chest. She looked like a little girl clutching her favorite stuffed animal as she drifted off to sleep. Oh, good evening, my friend. This is the sole tale I have to offer up to you. Oh, are we having like an additional layer of this meta-narrative? Is Battler going to be... Is Featherine and Berncastel going to be reading a story of Battler reading a story to Beato? Oh my goodness. Okay. We're in a brand new chapter, and they're adding another layer of meta. Oh boy. This tale will be shut up with you in your coffin for all eternity. So no one will be able to read it except for you there in your coffin.
猫箱に閉ざされた。
Shut away in that cat box.
唯一、
The only,
不変、
unchanging,
不可侵の
inviolable,
永遠の物語。
eternal tale.
だから、
This way,
誰にも物語を汚せない。
no one will be able to defile it.
否定できない。
No one can deny it.
反論できない。
No one can argue against it.
俺とこいつだけの。
This is just between me and her. Your own private tale.
二人だけの。
Just the two of us. The only ones who
唯
need
一
to know the
絶対
story
の。
are one and only certain
真実。
truth. Gotta wait for that. Battler's holding out on me.
クソ誰が
Those bastards. Another new background, I think. Interesting. They're giving us a lot of new backgrounds early on, most of which I'm not sure are going to be relevant later. Happy early Merry Christmas. That's right. That's right. It is Christmas Eve for many of us. Merry Christmas to everyone. Those bastards. I don't mean everyone. I don't mean you guys. You guys aren't bastards. That's just what this guy's saying. A man dashed through a town wrapped in twilight. The daytime hustle and bustle of this beautiful village, which combined the traditional with the orderly and the classic style of the last century, now seemed like a mere dream. Man, I would hate to have to do a professional stream. I'd hate to have to do a professional gaming stream on Christmas Day. That would suck. That would suck. Like, I imagine most people want to be home with their families, not being forced to, not being forced by their job to be working Christmas Day. That would suck, dude. Oh, you don't actually know if you've read 7? You don't know if you've read 7? Or finished 6? Interesting. Well, it might be a new experience for all of us. So the daytime hustle and bustle of this beautiful village, combining the traditional with the orderly and the classical style of the last century, seemed like a mere dream. The orange setting sun was already hidden behind the clock tower, and the narrow alleyway was rapidly descending into darkness. As the gas lights began to turn on, they only made the darkness of the twilight stand out all the more. The man sprinted. There was no time, he had to hurry. He had several experiments to do, and things he had to check. It had all taken longer than he'd expected. Yes, there's no mistake now. The whodunit and howdunit are more than enough in the mystery genre. So, we're getting like different perspectives from different inquisitors? An interesting hook for the first section of the story, right? You probably wouldn't have expected to see this, but we're getting a bunch of new characters possibly being hooked in for Chapter 7? In the mystery genre, the motive, or the why done it, is given the lowest priority. To have a murder, you need to have a culprit, and he needs to commit a crime. Motive isn't required for that. So it's usually the most ignored element. In fact, these days there's even some who call it unnecessary. If you find the culprit. With nothing but the why done it, that's no mystery. It's propaganda. However, just because of that fact, it doesn't mean you can neglect the motive, the heart.
We
both know how much fun she'll be having in her final sleep. I doubt anyone would disturb it. I'm sorry, Battler and Virgilia. Battler has an excuse. I don't know what your excuse is for no one would disturbing it when, like, everyone we've interacted with intentionally is like, how can I make someone else's life as miserable as humanly possible? On what planet would you believe no one would ever disturb Beatrice's rest? Unless the book is being destroyed right now, which it might be. Like, that seems like a silly line. No one will disturb her final rest. Nah, they're gonna, like, go for that immediately. After all, who could possibly disturb a sleeping child smiling at a happy dream? The person from the villain from the last arc? That wasn't even, like, hard. Like, literally my first guess would probably have done it gleefully. Many people would do that. Come. Yeah, Virgilia raising way too many event flags. She's like, no one will disturb this person's rest. It's time for us to leave. We're too noisy. We'll wake her from her dream. You're right. What else should you do with a sleeping kid? Put a blanket on them, turn off the lights, and walk away quietly. We have people who kick cats for fun. It literally happened, like, not 5 minutes ago. And here we are. After looking at the coffin one last time, Virgilia turned around quietly. Battler did the same and stopped, and turned to face the rose-covered altar. Nothing to say, my man. Battler offered up his final words within his heart. Fair enough. As long as those words didn't leave his mouth, no one would be able to know what they were. However, those words of the heart caused Battler's expression to change several times. At first he frowned sadly. Then his face clouded with remorse. Then he changed to a bitter, exasperated smile. It flashed through several varied expressions, and then the final expression that crossed his face was surprisingly a gentle smile. I don't know, he's saying his last goodbye. Probably trying to end on a high note. Seems reasonable to me. I wouldn't be completely surprised, but... Something rose to Battler's lips. However, he bit it back down. There certainly could be no words to describe the many feelings he kept within his chest. So, saying anything aloud would probably be crude. Battler understood this and stopped himself from speaking once more with a wry smile. Virgilia just chilling out here now.
ありがとう。
Thank you.
お礼を言われるようなことは何も。
Oh, I have done nothing to deserve your gratitude.
あとを頼む。
I'll leave the rest to you. After seeing Virgilia nod back at him, Battler turned away from the altar one more time and left the chapel. Virgilia also disappeared, and with that, all disturbances that might have interrupted her blissful sleep had vanished. Yeah, fateful last words. 5 minutes, the greatest words that ever said. 5 seconds before disaster. Yes, all disturbances that might have interrupted them vanished. The Inquisitors of Heresy listened with calm, no, scornful gazes. They listened to the frantic babbling of the maid accused of murdering her master. However, nothing she said could bury the fault in her own alibi. They were all mere emotional arguments. I loved and respected the master so much. I had no motive for killing him. No matter how much she spoke, it only made her look more and more like the floundering true culprit struggling pathetically. The requirements for the whodunit and howdunit had been satisfied. As for the why, well, the motive, the heart. No matter how much she spoke of gratitude for her master who graciously gave her a job when she'd been left by the wayside after various misfortunes, it didn't help her case in the slightest in the mystery genre. Therefore, her motive did not matter. R.I.P. in peace. All that could just be squeezed out of the culprit afterwards. An Inquisitor of Heresy took out a roll of parchment and held it forth, cutting off the maid's sobs in
あなた
protest.
がいかにして犯行に及んだか
This is how you
そ
committed
の
the
告
crime.
発は大法院にて受理され
Know
あ
that
な
this,
たの逮捕を許可したことを知りたまえ
know this indictment has been received by the Great Court and your arrest has been approved.
これがあなたの逮捕状
Here
なり
is the warrant for your arrest.
動機など不要
Motive is unnecessary.
犯人の特定には一切不要のものと知りたまえ
Knowing such a thing is completely extraneous to the matter of pinpointing the culprit.
その上で謹んで申し上げる
Please allow me to speak.
我らが SSVD は罪を認めぬ犯罪者に真実を告白させる強制的手段を持つと知りたまえ
Know that we of the SSVD possess methods of forcing unrepentant criminals to reveal the truth.
我らが異端審問官が正義にて祝福された審問具にてあなたの獅子を絞り上げて焼いて潰して引き伸ばして吊るし上げ
Ah, I see. With these interrogation tools blessed by the powers of justice, we Inquisitors of Heresy will strap up your limbs, burn you, crush you, stretch you, and hang you.
そこより赤き真実を絞り出してみせることを申し上げたてまつる
And in doing so, we'll wring the red truth out of you.
自白すらも不要
A confession isn't even
補
necessary.
佐官一同そのメイドを逮捕したてまつれ
Maids, arrest the maid. They really don't like maids here, I take it.
私じゃないです。私
It
は
wasn't me.
旦那様を殺したりなんかしません。
I didn't kill the master. Well, you're gonna hang like you did it. It's okay. The only Inquisitors we've met intentionally distorted the truth for their own gain, so we, the reader, are presumably already biased against this person and in favor of the maid. Well, that doesn't sound good.
やめな
Hold it right there. Ah, the face we saw, I see.
そのメイドは犯人じゃねえ
You've got the wrong culprit. Oh, but they have all the elements they need. Can there really be more to a story? A man kicked the door open and the Inquisitors were shocked at the sight of him. It's
な
Battler's
ぜあなた
replacement?
がここにいるものなり
Why are you here? Battler's replacement, that's what we're calling you.
この事件はもうあなたの担当ではないと知りたまえ
How are you here? Know that this case is no longer your responsibility. Yeah, I've seen art of this guy before.
うるせえ
Quiet. I have an idea what his name is too, but we'll just wait till he introduces himself.
アリバイがないやつを一人見つけたらそいつが犯人なのか
You find one person without an alibi and assume she's the culprit? I mean, that would be a pretty ineffective way of catching people. I mean, where were you? Oh, I was sleeping, like most people are in their beds at 3 a.m. Ha! You're the murderer! Easy. Easy! Like, there's been a murderer in this apartment complex. Ask every single person in the apartment complex where they were at 3:30 a.m. on a Tuesday night. The first person who says they were in bed and doesn't have someone else confirming that? Murderer. What's that? Most people in the family go to bed before 3 a.m.? Not my fucking problem. Although last time I believe it was just, roughly the same.
犯行には動機が心がいらねえってのか。
Do you really think there's no need for a motive for heart in crime?
犯行はな、人が犯すんだよ。
Crimes are committed by people. I'm learning new things every day. Crimes are committed by people, not machines.
心がねえ事件なんて存在しねえ。
There's no crime without a heart. Okay.
心を無視した推理なんざ、俺は絶対に認めねえ。
I'll never accept a theory that neglects the heart. Ah, the good old why done it. All right, what do you got for us, my dude? You got some
あなたの
spice?
ホワイダニット至上主義の主張には辟
It's
易
the
するものと知
Shiro.
りた
It's
ま
the Shiro Emi of Umineko. Know that your obsession over the why done it is simply embarrassing.
ホワイダニットなど無用
The why done it is unnecessary. I like how they said why done it in English. Everything else is important, but why done it needs to be said in English.
審問すればかようなもの容易に絞り出せるものなり
Such a thing can be extracted easily through interrogation. I mean, I don't want to hate on interrogation, but I should remind you that the reason interrogation is bad is not just because you think it's morally repugnant, but also because you can basically make anyone say whatever you want, so it's not very useful. As people will do a lot of things to avoid pain, and if you give them enough pain, they'll do anything to avoid pain, making it very pointless to extract a confession from someone, because you could take anyone off the street and make them confess to just about everything. Like, you could take anyone on the street and make them confess to this murder, so it doesn't really matter who the actual guilty party is, right? That's the reason torture is bad. Because it's just wasteful. You're wasting your effort trying to get information from someone, assuming you already know the answers, or that you already know they have it when they don't necessarily have it. There are some levels of certainty you could probably have that would make it worthwhile. Like direct evidence possibly works, but otherwise, I don't know about that. So in this case, lack of an alibi is probably not enough to justify torturing someone, simply because any number of people off the street could not have an alibi for a random event, but that wouldn't be enough to justify it.
大法院もその女が犯人であることを認めたものなり
Even the Great Court has already acknowledged this woman's the culprit.
大法院はそのメイド以外の全員にアリバイがあるならきっとそうなんだろうという。
True. The Great Court does assume that everyone besides the maid has an
お
alibi.
前の独りよがりを鵜呑みにしただけだ。
But that's just because they heard you say so, and they've mistaken your overconfidence and conceit for
他の
wisdom.
被疑者のアリバイが崩れれば白紙に戻る。
Mistaken overconfidence and conceit for wisdom. Oof. If any one of the other suspects loses their alibi, your evidence so far proves
他の
nothing.
連中のアリバイも無様
Look
だ
at
と
how
いいんじゃない。
pathetic some of these other alibis are. Okay, I want to see these. Are these going to be some funny alibis?
大広間の時計の音は正確に正午を刻んだか。
Did the clock in the reception hall chime midnight at exactly the right
勝
time?
手口の犬は全員に吠えるのか。
Did the dog in the back bark at everyone? Oh boy, that is pretty flimsy.
確かにお前はメイドのアリバイの偽証を崩した。
You managed to prove the maid's alibi false. That said, this for a murder mystery, typically the dog will bark at everybody unless you know they won't bark at someone.
それは見事なもんさ。
Congratulations.
だが、
Does it end
それ
there?
で終わりなのか。
I mean, people do lie for any number of reasons. That's why incorrect alibis don't necessarily mean someone's guilty of murder. After all, someone could be trying to hide the fact that they were dealing drugs and lie about their whereabouts, only to get caught up in a murder investigation and accused of murder for forging their alibi. I mean, sure, they were committing a crime, but they didn't actually kill anybody. Seems fair, right? If you're gonna prove someone's alibi false, it may be best to actually figure out what their real actions were.
メイドに犯行が可能でも、それを行う動機はあるのか。
It may have been possible for her to do it, but does she have any motive at all?
他の人間のアリバイは完璧なのか。
Are the alibis for others absolutely perfect? I don't know, you're gonna have to tell me that one, I have no clue.
他にもアリバイを偽証している人間がいる。
The maid wasn't the only one with a false alibi.
それを探すことを怠るな。
You gotta keep searching if you want to find the others. No, the first person with a bad alibi is guilty of all crimes. That's how it works.
犠牲者に怨恨は、金銭関係でトラブルは。
Maybe there was some sort of grudge against the victim or some money-related problem?
動機を捨てるな。心を捨てるな。
Don't abandon motive. Don't abandon the heart.
動機なんて後付けでどうでもいいなんて、そんな乾ききったミステリーごっこは卒業しちまいな。
Dry mysteries where motive can be figured out later just aren't worth anyone's time.
メイドが犯人
Start
でないなら
sweating in half
な
of
ぜ
the
に彼女
half
はア
of
リバイを偽
Umineko.
証するものなりや
If the maid isn't the culprit, why did she fake an alibi? She was having an affair with the master of the house. Okay, I just made up something on the spot. I don't even know this scenario, and I've just made an excuse. I've just made an excuse. She lies about where she is because she can't get caught sleeping with him.
そしてそれを問うことも茶番
If the maid isn't the culprit, why'd she fake an alibi? Even asking such a question is a waste of
審
time.
問し赤き真実を絞り出し犯行時刻のすべてを赤き地で署名させるだけで良いものと知りたまえ
Know that we have to interrogate her, ring out the red truth, and have her sign in red blood to everything that happened at the time of the crime.
ああ、そうだろうな。
Right, you can probably do that. I can close to the actual reason. Oh yeah, sure.
お得意の拷問で全てを神の目線から客観的に赤裸々に絞り出せばいいさ。
You can just use that torture of yours to squeeze out everything frankly and objectively as seen from the eyes of God.
でもな、
That's
言ってお
confident.
く。
You know what?
心のねえミステリーと推理のやり方はな、俺が絶対に認めね
I'll never accept mysteries and theories that lack heart. I mean, you don't always need those.
すでに本事件は本館に継承されたるものなり
I've already taken over responsibility for this case.
ここに命令書もあ
I
る
have
も
a
のなり
decree right here.
さあ補佐官一同構うことはなしと知りたまえ
No, there's no reason to
そ
hesitate.
のメイドの逮捕を命じるものなりや
I order you to arrest this maid. When she gave this order, her subordinates hesitated, looking back and forth between their superior and that man, and was it just me or was that text kind of just slowly stopping and continuing?
させね
I
えよ。
won't
本
let
当
you.
の犯人は他にいる。
The real culprit's a different person.
動機から推理可能だ。
It's possible to use motive to find them. Oh, is that?
アリバイトリックなんざ古典通り。
Their alibi trick is an old one.
心を
You can't
忘
neglect
れ
the
るん
heart.
じゃね
心など不要なり
There's no need
犯
for that.
行可能な疑わしき人物を導き出し審問して赤き真実を絞り出せばいい
We have to find the suspicious ones who committed the crime, interrogate them, and squeeze out the red truth.
万一犯人でなかったなら
On the off chance they aren't the culprit,
別の疑わしい容疑者を審問にかければいいだけなりや
we'll just have to interrogate the next culprit. Classic Inquisitor methodology. If they're not the culprit, we just interrogate the next person until we find the culprit.
そんなのは推理じゃね
You call that reasoning? Yes. Yes, they do. That seems to be the case.
退きたまえ。
The off chance. It might be a regular issue. This is a mystery. This is a mystery novel / video game though, so it's more likely than not that they are accurate. Except these are the Inquisitors that we've only ever seen fail, so we're probably supposed to be biased against them. Damn it.
その女を逮捕するものなりや。
We'll arrest that woman.
そのメイドが犯人であると知りたまえ。
Know that this maid is the culprit.
使用人が犯人であることを禁ず。
Forbidden for a servant to be the culprit. Wait, why? Did you say? Evidently he's got a higher level of truth than you. The words of power blast away the aides trying to arrest the maid.
バンダイン20足第11足
Van Dyne's 20 rules, number
この
11.
メイドを拷問したかったら第二夫人とその愛人のアリバイをもう一度洗いな。
If you want to torture this maid, make sure you double check the alibis of the second wife and her lover first.
その二人には犯行時刻の明白なアリバイが。
I already have a clear alibi for the time of the crime. So they're in cahoots?
あの程度でアリバイかよ。
That an alibi? Okay, let's see what the alibi he's scorning is. I'm curious if he's got something spicy to scorn.
ボンクラのお前に分かるように説明してたら時間がいくらあっても足りねえ。
Yeah.
め
A
んどく
fool
さ
like
い。
you couldn't understand no matter how easy I make it for you.
主席を名乗りたかったらその程度の捜査と推理を見せてみな。
You want to call yourself the head inquisitor or try and at least figure out that much for
そ
yourself?
れまでこのメイドへの逮捕状は俺が預かるぞ。
Until then, I'll be taking that maid's arrest warrant, and yes, clear alibis can be false. Many people have made very solid alibis, including like date time stamped movie tickets, actually being seen at the theater, etc., and then still gone back and killed people. It's like, oh yes, I went to go see Avengers Endgame. Here's my ticket. Check the cams. Oh, he's on cams. He went into the theater. He left. Still killed someone. Actually, in the case of someone who actually had the movie tickets, I believe they got caught at like a gas station or some shit. I believe they got caught at like being at a gas station when they were supposed to be in the movie. But they had the movie ticket. That's the important bit. Yeah, accomplices are easy to come by. People's memories are fuzzy. Yes, witnesses, even witnesses who are telling the truth can often be wrong. People are not the most reliable for especially for things they don't remember or pay attention to. Like some random person you walked by in the hallway's hair color or eye color, whether they even had a beard or not, man or woman, the color of jacket they're wearing, what they were wearing, all can be wrong. Fool like you couldn't understand, no matter how easy I make it for you. If you want to call yourself the head inquisitor, try and figure out at least that much for yourself. Until then, I'll be taking the maid's arrest warrant. I think I already read
な
that.
らあなたに
What about you?
そのメイドが犯行を犯さなかったことが証明できるなりや。
Can you prove this maid didn't commit the crime?
犯行時刻に彼女が台所を離れていたことは明らかと知りたまえ。
No, that she was clearly away from the kitchen at the time of the
彼
crime.
女は犯行時刻にどこで何を。
What was she doing then? And where? Ooh, are guilty until proven innocent? That's not a great process. There's bound to be holes in that. Holes in your logic somewhere there.
その女にも本官にも
She
あな
can't
たにも
prove it. I can't
何も
prove
証
it.
明
You
は不可能
can't
な
prove
り。
it. No one can. It is what it is, my dude.
なればこそ審問の拷問具で赤き真実を絞り出すほかなきなり。
That's why we have no choice but to use these torture devices to interrogate her until the red truth is squeezed out. We are in a story. That's a valid option.
真犯人からは血ヘドでも真実でも好きなだけ絞り出してやれ。
You can squeeze as much blood and truth from the true culprit as you damn well please.
だがな
However,
真犯人じゃねえ人間へはいか
I
な
won't
る
let you
審問
torture or
も
interrogate
拷問も許さね
anyone who isn't that culprit.
だからこそあなたは甘いと批判されるものなり。
That's why everyone says you're too
疑
soft.
わしきはすべて審問。
All the suspicious must be interrogated.
それが我ら 異端審問官の魔女裁判であると知りたまえ。
That is how we Inquisitors of Heresy conduct our witch trials.
そうだな。俺たちは異端審問官だ。
That's right. We're Inquisitors of Heresy. I mean, they're operating like Inquisitors, so are they really doing a bad job of it?
邪悪な魔女を撃つ。それが商売さ。
Felling evil witches is our job.
万一にも市民を傷つけてはな
However, we mustn't risk hurting the innocent. No, I'm pretty sure that the Inquisition, by definition, doesn't care.
疑ってはならない。
We mustn't put them under suspicion.
人間は誰しも自分だけの真実を持つ。
Everyone has their own personal truth.
それは罪を犯した時にのみ暴かれる。
Those should only be exposed when they commit crimes. Okay, okay.
俺たちにはそれを暴く資格が与えられている。
We've been given the right to expose
だが
them.
ねえんだよ。
But there's one thing we can't do.
何が？
What is this one thing we can't do, my friend?
罪なき人間の罪なき真実を暴
No
く
one.
資格なんざ、たとえ神様にだって与えられちゃいねえんだよ。
No one, not even God, has the right to expose the innocent truths of those who have not sinned. I'm not sure I'm going to agree with you on that one, but sure. We'll just go with that. You're the person in charge of the plot. It's your scene. Let him do his thing. The maid finally realized he was trying to protect her.
どちら様か存じま
I
せん
don't know
が
if you are, but
ありがとう
thank you.
ございます。
Thank you very much.
私本当に犯人じゃないんです。
I'm really not the culprit.
んなことは知って
I
る。
know, I know.
お前の彼氏は全てを投げ出してお前のためにアリバイ
Your
を証言
boyfriend
する。
said he'd be willing to give up everything to prove your alibi.
感謝しとけ。
You should thank him.
あの若造は名誉も肩書きもお前に比べたら大したもんじゃねえと言い
The
やが
kid
った。
said that honor and reputation are worth nothing compared to you.
そんなことをしたら
If he does
あの
that,
人は
それには及ばね
it won't come to
え。
that.
恋人たちの秘め事を暴くのは三流雑誌の仕事だ。
Exposing the secrets between lovers is a job for third-rate magazines.
ミステリーじゃね
It's not a
え。
mystery.
俺は心のない推理は
I'll never allow for heartless reasoning. Then, for the first time, the man's sullen expression relaxed and he patted the maid's head roughly.
と彼氏と幸せにな
I'm
り
sure you two will be happy
だ
together.
が勤務中に相引きするのはあまり褒められねえな。
Still, meeting in secret while on the job is hardly praiseworthy.
時々にしとくんだな。
Try to keep it to a minimum.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you so much. These words were heard only by the two of them. The man had learned of her innocence, which could only be proven by exposing the secrets of a pair of young lovers, and he rushed out in search of a solution, resentful of the arrogance of those trying to expose this by forcible means.
推理はな、犯人を作ることでも、その過程
Point
で
of theory making
罪
is
な
not
き
to
人
create a
々の
culprit.
心の真実を踏みにじることでもね、心が大事なんだ。
Or to trample on the truths that lie in the hearts of those who've not sinned.
探偵気取るなら、心を忘れるん
Do
じ
you
ゃ
want
な
to
い。
play detective? Don't neglect the heart. So serious, so serious.
そいつを忘れたら、俺たちはただの知的蹂躙者だ。
Otherwise, we're just intellectual rapists. We're back with that intellectual rapist line. Thanks, Erica.
それを忘れる
Don't
な。
forget it. Don't you guys pride yourselves on that? When the man spoke, the Inquisitor no longer had any way to argue back. The man's name is Will, and yet that's not what everyone used to call him. Head Inquisitor of Heresy of the SSVD, the 8th District Repentance Enforcement Agency of the Great Court of Heaven. Wizard hunting right.
これがお前らへの最後の引き継ぎだ。
This is the last thing I have to pass on to you
魔
guys.
術師狩りのライトの名を継ぐなら忘れるな。
If you want to be the next wizard hunting right, remember it.
絶対だ。
No matter what. loud. Well, that was interesting. That was a completely new intro track. And I believe we got several scenes, if not the whole thing, were new. At least several scenes I didn't recognize. Maybe I haven't seen this one enough to recognize it because it's been a while. But that was interesting. Okay. Quietly. The rain fell down. The rain of sadness dripped down the outer walls of the chapel, quietly washing away the dust of the world of the living. The chapel doors were open. During a wedding, only those with invitations are allowed inside. However, during a funeral, the doors are open to all who remember the deceased. So this must be a funeral. A shadow holding an umbrella approached the chapel. It was Will. What are you doing on Rockin' Jima, my dude? Willard H. Wright. That awkward moment when you use Will not for William, but for Willard. And another new background. All right. A reception desk had been set up at the chapel's entrance. As the shadow approached, Canon, who had been sitting at this desk, stood up and welcomed him with a bow.
こちらが受付でございます。
This is the reception desk.
弔問の皆様にはご褒美を賜っております。
We're collecting the names of all mourners.
ご記帳をお願いいたします。
If you would sign in here.
悪いな。
Sorry.
弔問じゃねえ。
I'm not a mourner.
待ち合わせだ。
I'm here to meet with someone. You came to a funeral to meet with someone? Yeah, I can see Cannon's exasperated face. He's like, are you serious? A dubious expression rose to Cannon's face. Will pulled an envelope from his pocket and showed him the sender's name.
失礼いたしました。
My apologies. Please enter.
すまねえな。
Thanks.
せめてそいつをもらえる
Could
か。
I at least have one of those?
ありがとうございます。
Thank you very
きっ
much.
とお喜びになられると思います。
I am sure she will be pleased. Cannon handed him a set of gold roses, which were being handed out to all the mourners. Will took it, silently bowed his head, and entered the chapel. People do meet for the first time during funerals. I understand that. He's here to meet someone for the first time, though. Rather that he's here to meet someone specifically, so he's not at the funeral for the deceased, unless it's by invitation of the deceased, I guess. Or someone associated with it there. It's a bit unusual. It's unusual to be there to meet someone rather than to be there to mourn someone, right? Inside the chapel, several people who appeared to be members of the family of the deceased were gathered. They all seemed to be recalling the memories of the departed. Kinzo's weeping. It must be Beato. I mean, it's Kinzo. What do you expect, right?
Nothing. Nothing.
お父様、どうかしっかり。
Please take care. Kinzo's back to life, strangely enough. You got them to do the chorus? Yeah. The Beatrice chorus.
控え室の方で少し休みまし
Why
ょう。
don't you rest in the waiting room for a bit? Genji's here, looking just as
私が
old.
殺したのよ。
I killed her. I did it.
私が。
This is a few years ago then, is it?
とんでもない。
Third.
どうしてローザ様が殺したことになりまし
How
ょ
could
う。
that be, Rosa? How could that be, Rosa-sama?
お父さんすごい泣きよね。
Father's really bawling.
ベアトリーチェか
Yeah, Beatrice! Yep, that's basically how it goes. Kinzo does that often enough. You should be able to repeat it on demand. Wrong, Beatrice. This is the one that he held prisoner and died? For which Beatrice is this? There's so many Beatrices who've died. The one Rosa killed, the one who killed themselves to escape, the one the one Battler created who's also dead. The one Battler created who's also dead but died recently in the previous chapter. The one Battler didn't quite create but sort of created. That was a game piece that also died this past chapter. We've had a lot of Beatos, okay? Like, yeah, Beatrice is dead. I'm sorry. There's been like 6 of them that died. You're gonna have to be more specific. Because Virgilia is also Beatrice, right?
絶対お母様が亡くなった時より泣いてるわ。
Sure, he didn't cry this much when Mother passed away.
こら、
Hey,
今はそんなこと言うときちゃうで。
now's not the time to say things like that. Someone sobbed, unable to conceal their tears, and some spoke softly of old memories. They were all remembering the dead in their own way, it seemed. Yeah, they're all arguing about who she was. When Will approached the altar, several people turned around. Of course, none of them knew who Will was. Paying this no mind, he walked in front of the casket on the altar, which seemed to be buried under golden roses, and inside the casket, well, there was no corpse. Instead, as though it lay there in place of a body, was a single thick book with an extravagant binding. The space all around it was filled with countless gold roses. There were words printed on the book's cover. To my beloved Beatrice, October 5th, 1986.
ミス・ベアトリーチェ
Miss
ミ
Beatrice.
セスだったら許しな
If it was Mrs. Forgive
会
me.
ったことはね
I've never met you.
だがお悔やみ申し上げるぜ
However, allow me to express my condolences. He took the rose he received from the reception area and placed it in the casket. He had absolutely no connection to the woman called Beatrice. However, since he had come to visit a funeral, he had to show the minimum amount of respect for the dead. Seems fair. That's why Ms. exists. True, true. Will doesn't seem to care. But yes, Ms. exists in the event you don't know whether someone is a Miss or a Mrs. Mrs. As part of this, Will prayed for the passage of the dead into the next realm.
失礼だが、
Pardon me.
私は後宮クラウス、
Who might you be? I'm Ushiromir
喪
Chris.
主の代行です。
I'm serving as chief mourner. Is that a real thing? Chief mourner? The person who's saddest? Is that what it is?
こっちは子供のリオン。
This is my child, Leon.
はじめまして。
New. Interesting voice. Who voices Leon? Who was pronounced? She's also named Leon and not Lion. I swear to God. Is this Saber? Cause that sounded like Saber. That's my first thought. I'm like, that's a very familiar voice. Are we getting that?
後宮リオンです。
Oh, it is. It is. A second line, 100%. Okay, Artoria. Okay. And she's also a blonde. Ushiromia Leon. Alright.
リオン
Leon?
誰だお前
Who the heck are you?
理科の理に魚するの魚でリオンと読みます。
It's written as, oh god, what? That's reason? Wait, is that reason something else? I think it's like reason something else, but it's pronounced Leon.
ちょっと日本人っぽくない名前ですよね。
I guess it's a bit strange for a Japanese name. OC, do not steal, Leon and Will. Alright. Burn Castell's coming up with some interesting names. Or is this Battler? Who knows? Will stared at Lion's face. Sorry. I'll pronounce it Leon, because they even said Lee-on. Will stared at Leon's face, wearing a confused expression. He hadn't seemed particularly interested in Kroos, but Leon had apparently drawn some sort of reaction from him. Rather than interest, he was more as though he felt something was out of place. Yes, her eye color is wrong. Her eye color is wrong, her hair is a slightly different shade than it should be, and she doesn't have Excalibur.
旦那様
Kroos-sama.
奥様がそろそろと
Madam says it's about time. Yeah, they probably should have spelled it Leon if they wanted to use Leon. But it is what it is. I mean, it's an unusual spelling. It's an unusual spelling, and Leon's a real name. But they're probably trying to go with, like, words that aren't normally names, as is their tradition, right? I think everything they use. Oh, Shirmia Leon already has her name card. Okay, the first child of Kroos and Natsuhi. Jessica is their second child. Ah, this is the one they threw off a cliff. Okay, was given the silver ring of the successor to the headship and will succeed the position of family head upon turning 20. I didn't even know that ring existed. Mild, polite, and without any clear faults except for being too young, Leon is a more suitable successor than anyone else and adored by Kinzo. Can we swap over to, no? Okay, Willard H. Wright. A member of the SSVD, 8th District Repentance Enforcement Agency of the Great Court of Heaven, and Inquisitor of Heresy, a first-class archbishop. He is commonly known as the Wright of the 20 Wedges, or Wizard Hunting Wright. He was an ace Inquisitor of Heresy in his youth, feared for being ruthless and merciless in his work. However, at some point there was a change in his work attitude, and his previously flashy escapades became a thing of the past. His current style is often fickle, alternating between laziness and obsessive bursts of energy regarding mere trifles. By now, everyone's given up on trying to understand him. He's already filed his resignation and had it accepted. Only a few days remain before he loses the name of Wright. Interesting. Okay. Well, since we don't have access to, what I was looking to see, never mind. Ah, Burncastel, Witch of Miracles, and Miko to the Witch of Theater going. In the 7th game, she conducts Beato's funeral. She was defeated in the previous game, making her the loser. She proclaims she will tear out the guts of Beato's game to satisfy her irritation, and yet, here we are. Okay, well, I was going to check something. I was going to demonstrate the names of everyone being awkward, but I mean, I guess we can go with Maria. We can go with, like, Maria, Battler, and Jessica all being unusual names. Although at least Jessica's like a real name. Battler isn't a real name, it just seems to be a word, so maybe that's the way they went to Leon. I mean, whatever. They could have done... They could have, like... I don't know. They could have just said Lion. I think Lion should work. Lion should work. Lion should work. Does Lion? No, it doesn't work. You can't do I. The I sound doesn't quite... I think Ava, Rosa, Kroos, and Rudolph are also weird names, yeah. Kyrie isn't part of the family, so her name does not need to be a foreign name. Yeah. Ryan. It's like it's Ryan, right? It has to be pronounced very strangely in Japanese. It's supposed to be. It's Ryan because you can do eyes, right? You would probably do Ryan or something like that, which would still sound weird in Japanese. Rayon? Rayon? Yeah, it's like really weird. Rayon? Yeah, it'd be like really weird, I think, to pronounce it. Like, I know how I'd like it written, but it would be weird still. Reeon is, I guess, the way they're doing it this time. Whereas it could be what? Rayon isn't much better, honestly. Rayon and Rayon isn't much better, so you'd probably want to do like Raion, which would probably sound closer to it, but I don't know. But I mean, they're not really trying to reshape words into. They're not really trying to reshape words into like sounding more English. They're just going with the default one, right? Because I think it is Rayon. It is Rayon, I believe. That is lion. Nasu, Layon. Oh my god. Lay on. Alright, Crow-sama, Madame Sim, it's about time. Oh, sorry. I see. Ladies and gentlemen, if we're too noisy in here, it may disturb the dead. I've been told the waiting room has been readied. Shall we move over there? When Kraus called to everyone, they began moving towards the chapel waiting room. Apologies. Because I believe they're pronouncing the Rayon the way you're supposed to in Japanese. It's just that it could sound like slightly closer to actual lion. It just, the way you write lion in Japanese it's not the closest to like how you would say it in English. Rayon, could you entertain our guest for now? I'll guide the others to the waiting room. Yes, father. It looked like a natural conversation with no awkwardness for either father or child. Father and child, is it? Yes. Why do you ask? Ushimiya Kraus's child is supposed to be Jessica. Jessica is my little sister. You need me to call for her? No, that won't be necessary. Apparently some sort of game was already being played right off the bat. Scratching at his head with an irritated look on his face, Will glanced around. Pardon me, what sort of relation did you have with the deceased? None at all. It's a real pain. Why did you come to this funeral? Since Leon was a fairly mild person, Will's behavior was met with nothing more than a blank expression. A normal person would probably have put a dubious look out long before this. Will scratched his head again and yelled angrily at someone other than Leon. I'm here. Isn't it about time you showed your face? The members of the Ashiramiya family had already followed Kraus's instructions and moved to the waiting room. By now, no one could be seen in this cold, vast chapel decorated with gold roses except for Will and Leon. Leon? Leon, right? So you've come. Wizard hunting right, Inquisitor of Heresy. The girl's voice came suddenly from behind the pair. Ah, there we go. Bern Castell, the promised one who is apparently directing the funeral. To be fair, she's supposed to be writing the story, so that makes sense. When Leon turned around in surprise, a girl had appeared out of nowhere and drifted down on top of the altar. She landed softly on the sacred funeral altar as though it was perfectly normal. crushing the golden roses under her shoes. You're thinking Bernkastel had to exchange out Erica and Dlanor for Will? Since they weren't quite up to the task? Well, Erica's dead, so that's going to be annoying. Will seems like a new person who could be doing some investigating on her behalf. Or he might just be the new protagonist, the new battler, perhaps? She crushes the golden roses under her shoes. Rude. Rude. Of course, Leon didn't know this girl. Just why on earth were all these people unrelated to the funeral popping up one after another? I'm already retired. If you have a job you need doing, go ask the new right. No, no. You're the one I want to ask. I am giving this case to you. Did you read the tale I sent you? I might have skimmed it.
あなたがどなたか存じませんが、そこから降りてください。
I don't know who you are. Please get down from there.
そこは神聖な祭壇ですよ。
That's a sacred altar. They were being polite, not being hostile. Feels weird. Snapping out of a daze, Leon told the girl to get off the altar, but she ignored it completely. On top of that, Will kept on talking to the girl as though Leon wasn't even there. I mean, in a sense, she isn't there. I hear this is Leon. Who is that exactly? You've already heard who. Ushiromiya Leon. There's no case of a person with that name appearing in any of the previous games. A new fabrication. Is this your piece? Leon, help me, Leon! Is Leon the killer? I just gotta ask. They're the first killer in a certain other game. No. It's a true and proper piece of this game board. A character appearing in the story. You're the game master. That means it's your piece. I've just moved from Beata's cat box into a larger cat box. Leon is one of the pieces who has a possibility of appearing inside it. I see. In other words, your piece. What piece I placed would be the correct way to say it. So you're saying it's not your subordinate like Erica? Good question. Erica? Who's that?
Erika-san?
Erika-san? Don't try to understand. You'll get a headache. Leon didn't have a clue what they were talking about. However, though neither person was familiar, it seemed clear they both knew a lot about the Ashiromiya family.
I
don't know what you two are talking about. Anyway, you, girl. Please get off the altar. So with slightly more force this time. I ask this as successor to the Ashiromiya family headship. Even Leon was finally forced to speak in a raised voice to that girl who continued to chat while casually standing on the altar. However, the girl ignored this completely. Yeah, I don't think Bernkastel's gonna care. She's... On the other hand, Will did show a reaction. The successor's supposed to be Kraus. My father Kraus will be the acting head until I turn 20. Acting head? Boy, that's peculiar. What about Kinzo? What happened to the old man Kinzo? Then I am to succeed the headship. First I've heard of this.
証拠はあるのか？
Can you prove it? It seemed even Leon was starting to get ticked off now. The calm expression appeared to twitch slightly.
これは次期当主に許されている片翼のわしの銀の
This is
指輪
the
です。
successor's silver ring of the one-winged eagle.
これで証拠になりますか？
Is that proof enough for you? Will's gonna be like,
金の指輪？
a silver ring?
金の当主の指輪は何度も登場したが、次期当主の銀の指輪など初耳だ。
Golden Head's ring has appeared several times. I've never heard anything about a silver ring for the
クラ
successor.
ウスもジェシカもそんなものを指に通していた記憶がねえ。
I don't remember Kraus or Jessica ever wearing one of those either.
嬉しいわ。
I'm glad.
斜め読みにしてはちゃんと読んでくれてるじゃない。
For someone who's just skimmed it, it seems you've read it pretty well.
魔女のよこす文章はどこにろくでもねえことが書いてあるか分かったもんじゃね
Well, when a witch hands you a story, you never know when something
え。
absurd's
ま
gonna
してや
pop
そ
up.
れが元老院の大魔女とクリアな。
Especially a great witch from the Senate. Ooh, spicy.
あなた方は
Who in the world
一体何者なんですか？
are you two?
失礼だが、私には何の話をしているのかさっぱりわかりません。
I don't have a clue what you're talking about.
個人への献花がお済みでしたら、どうぞお引き取りを。
If you finished offering flowers for the departed, please make your exit.
どうやらあなた方は当家がおもてなしすべき方々ではないようです。
Seems you two are not worthy of our family's hospitality. Leon finally ran out of patience. These were the strictest words this gentle kid could unleash. However, Will and the girl seemed not to care at all.
俺も来たくて来たわけじゃね
I didn't come here because I wanted to.
時間の無駄だから話を進めるわ。
Wasting time, let's move onwards.
ライト、こ
Right,
のゲームに挑みなさい。
try and beat this game.
ゲームマスター、ベルンカステルの名において、このゲームにあなたを招待してあげるわ。
As the game master, Berncastel, I invite you to join in.
え。お断りだ。
I refuse. Why would I play a game with a witch?
どうして？
Why?
俺はもう引退する身だ。
Well, I'm retired now. Has that ever stopped anybody? Has that ever stopped
推
anybody?
理もミステリーも知ったことか。
Reasoning and mystery just isn't my business anymore.
何をして余生を過ごすというの？
How do you intend to spend the rest of your life then?
魔術師狩りのライトが魔女狩りをやめて。
Is wizard hunting right? Gonna give up witch hunting? That seems to be the plan.
狐狩りでも潮干狩りでもするさ。
Oh, there's still fox hunting, clam hunting, and other things to look forward to. Yeah, I'm sure that's gonna hold out.
俺がここに来たのはあんたと余生を語るためじゃね。
I didn't come here to discuss the rest of my life with you.
断るために来たと。
Oh, so you came here to refuse. Yep, that's right. You came all the way to refuse.
ご検察いただき、光栄の極みと知りたまえなりや。
Know that your powers of deduction are truly a sight to behold.
なら好きにしたらいいわ。
Do as you
ど
will.
こへでも行けばいい。
Go wherever you please.
ただし、ここから立ち去れればの話だけれど。
That is assuming you can leave this place.
それで、
So,
条件と報酬は
what are the terms and payment? In truth, Will had resigned himself from the beginning. He knew he was incapable of refusing an invitation from the great Lady Berncastel.
ベアトリーチェを殺したのは誰か。
Who killed Beatrice?
それが私のゲームよ。
That's my game.
報酬は私に対するその無礼な口の利き方を許すことと、この礼拝堂を立ち去る権利。
In exchange, I'll forgive you for your insolence and let you leave the chapel. Ooh.
退屈を愛さない魔女は存在な言葉を愛すると聞いたぜ。
I hear boredom-hating witches just love being spoken to rudely.
それは1000年を生き飽きたババア魔女の話よ。
It's only for hags who've tired out of life after 1,000 years.
私はまだまだ若いから。
I'm plenty young.
あんた
I'm
み
plenty
とどん
young.
な過酷な運命に閉じ込めてやろうかと無双することを愛するの。
So instead, I love thinking up horrible fates in which to trap rude men like you. Can't have fun. She's the witch of no fun allowed, apparently. So,
敵は誰だ?
who's my enemy?
いないわ。
There is none.
妨害などするわけもない。
There are none who stand in your
この
way.
ゲームをあなたが美しく詰めるところをただ私たちは感激したいだけ。
I just want to sit back and watch you make your beautiful checkmate in this game.
仲間も用意する。
I haven't found you an
そ
ally.
れがそのリオンよ。
That's what Leon's for. After hearing that name spoken out of the blue, Leon frowned once more. Apparently they were moving things along without Leon's knowledge or understanding, which the latter seemed to find truly irritating.
リオンは後宮家の人間。
Leon's a member of the Ushiramiya family.
後宮家の誰とも面識のないあなたには心強い味方となってくれるでしょう。
They should prove to be a useful ally, seeing as no one in the family knows you. I guess I could see that being useful.
何の話か分かりかねますが、事情の分からない話には何もご協力はできかねますよ。
I'm not sure what this is about, but I can hardly be of assistance until I know what's going on here. I mean, it should be straightforward now. We know what we're doing.
だそうだ。
There, see?
頼もしい限りだな。
With help like this, it'll be a piece of cake.
私と我が主を楽しませなさい。
Entertain me and my
魔術師狩りのラ
master.
イト。
Wizard hunting right.
あうあうは行儀のいい感激者だけれど
I love how she calls her Ow Ow. Ow Ow, maybe a polite theater goer.
私は退屈するとポップコーンを投げつけたりしちゃうかもね。
But I might throw popcorn at you if I get bored, okay? Ow Ow. Yeah, that'd be my expression. I'd be like, oh, really, really, really. Will scratched his head with a displeased look on his face. I wouldn't be happy either. I understand, my dude. Not a great time. He wasn't all that interested in getting involved, but by now he realized he couldn't disobey Vern Castell's orders. Yeah, if you want an explanation, Leon, we can go back through 6 episodes of murders. Then he approached the casket and pointed at its rose-filled insides.
ベアトリーチェ殺人事件の依頼とのことだが、
You asked me to solve the case of Beatrice's murder, but
バンダイン20則、第7則。
Van Dyne's 20 rules number 7.
死体なき事件であることを禁ず。
It's forbidden to have a crime without a corpse.
悪魔の証明ね。
Why, that's a devil's proof.
棺にないだけじゃない？
Maybe it just isn't inside the casket. Ever consider that one?
死体が存在しないことをあなたが証明できない限り、これは
Until you
ミス
can
テリー
prove no corpse exists, this is mystery. Prove that no corpse exists. That's gonna be a tough one.
第1則、手がかりすべての揃わぬ事件を禁ず。
Rule number 1, it's forbidden to have a crime without all clues presented.
安心なさい。
Don't worry.
すべてはここに揃っている。
Everything is gathered here. Though there was no change to Will's unsatisfied expression. That game? I was worried it froze for a second there. He seemed to have understood the general pattern of the place. The simple fact that a mere inquisitor of heresy had been summoned by an uninhibited, fickle, cruel great witch of the Senate meant he'd be treated as no more than an underling. He's probably not happy about that. All along, he'd possessed no way to refuse her.
この空っぽの棺の主を殺したの
So
は
who killed the owner of the empty coffin?
引き受けてやら。
I'll answer the question.
ただし、俺の流儀でやらせてもらう。
However, you gotta let me do things my way.
ご自由に。
As you like. Oof, she's gone. Just like that.
まず最初にすることは、お前に現状を理解させることだな。
First of all, I need to make you understand the current situation.
それをお願いできると、私もとても助かります。
That would be extremely helpful at the moment. Leon's expression seemed nonplussed, angry, and confused all at the same time.
キナ、
Over here.
実際に見た方が早い。
It's faster to see for yourself.
いいでしょう。
Wonderful.
お供しましょうとも。
Lead the way. Will signaled with his chin for Leon to follow him and spun around. After snorting once in an unsatisfied manner, Leon followed him as though resigned to see Will's little show. As she watched them leave the chapel, Berncastel sneered silently at them, a cold smile on her face.
尊厳なる感激と戯曲と傍観の魔女。
As the Miko of the Great Witch of Theater going, drama spectating, feathering something Aurora, oh Aurora.
フェザリーヌなんとかアウアウローラの巫女にして奇跡の魔女。
I, Berncastel.
ベルンカステルの名において、このゲームの開始を宣言するわ。
The start of this game.
物語のタイトルは、黄金の魔女のレクイエム。
The game's title is Requiem of the Golden Witch.
ベアとの葬儀にふさわしい物語を紡ぎなさい。
Been a tale fitting for Beato's funeral.
さて、どんな腹渡を引きずり出してくれるやら。
Let's see how you drag out the guts. Alright, show me it. Show me your moves. You watched until the pair had left the chapel. Berncastel's form evaporated into thin air just as she had arrived. All that remained was her unpleasant cackling. I almost feel sorry for this Leon. You're not gonna have a good time, my dude. Outside, it was still raining. When Canon saw the guest and the successor approaching the reception desk, he bowed deeply.
ご苦労様です。休んで結構ですので、外してもらえますか？
You can take a break now. Would you mind leaving?
カノンです。
Canon,
かしこまりました。
as you wish. Canon bowed deeply and then disappeared.
下々の名前まではいちいち覚えていないってか。
Don't you remember the names of all your servants?
当家には若い使用人が大勢出入りしており、入れ替わりも頻繁ですので。
Our family has many young servants coming in and out, and they're usually replaced quite frequently.
さて、
Well, then,
何をどう理解させてくれるのですか？
what are you trying to explain to me?
あなた様は何者で、当家にどのようなご用がおありで？
What business do you have with this
もち
family?
ろん納得させてくれなくて構いません。
Of course, there's no need to convince me.
このままお帰りいただければいいだけですので。
Feel free to head on home if you want. At least he's respecting the dead by not conducting business in the funeral hall.
もう帰れねえのさ。
There is no going home. Not for me.
誰もな。
Not for anyone. Nope, we're all stuck here until this is solved.
もういい加減にしてくれませんか？
Give that a rest.
そのよくわからない煙に巻くような喋り方は。
Stop speaking in confusing riddles like that all the time. Sorry, it's an old detective habit. Never tell people the truth until you know everything, or you feel like telling them it. It's better to just wait and make them drag it out of you.
私にだって我慢の限界というものがあります。
And I have limits to my patience.
私では見送りにならないというなら、源氏とゴーダにお送りさせてもいい
If
の
you don't want me
で
to
すよ。
see you off, should I call Genji or Goda?
騒ぐな。
Don't
こい
freak
つを
out.
見てろ。
Look at this.
見ればわかりま
I
す。
can see that.
葬儀用のバラです。
It's one of the memorial
ま
roses.
さか手品でも見せてくれるおつも
Are
り
you
で。
gonna show me some kind of magic trick? Will took one of the flower offerings, then showed it to Leon, as though pointing out that there were no mechanisms or tricks. He slowly lifted it upwards.
見てろ。
Watch.
ええ、見てますよ。
I'm watching, I'm watching.
鳩でも飛び出すんですか？
The dove going to fly
そ
out
れ
of
と
it?
もクラッカーと万国旗にでも？
Perhaps flag or fireworks? Will threw the rose. Anyone would have expected it to fly in an arc and land in some puddle. It didn't, which is why Leon had been struck dumb. The rose thrown by Will certainly had flown in an arc. It should have sped on rapidly through the air. However, as soon as it passed out from the shade of the eaves and was about to reach the rain, it stopped right in midair, as though the air surrounding it had turned into syrup. That wasn't all. As it hung in midair, the rose's beautiful golden petals began to darken one after another. It became a black husk like burnt charcoal. And even after this happened, it remained suspended there in the air. What sort of trick is this? Good night, my friend. Don't move. Leon had moved closer to try and touch the remains of the rose which hung still in the air. Will had thoroughly blocked the way with his arm. It was as though he was telling Leon that leaving this place meant certain death. This chapel has been cut off from the fragment. And we are currently trapped in a concentrated loop of time. What? Sorry, Leon. What do you mean by that? Explains the pain. I'll give you the short version. Well, at least he's giving an explanation. Basically, unless we play along with that witch's game, no one can leave this place. The TLDR? At least he's given us... That's a pretty short explanation. Instead of spending like 20 minutes explaining, he's like, yeah, we gotta play your dumb game, or otherwise no one leaves. The funeral's already over. I'm sure some people will want to return to the mansion or the guest house. We can't be locked up in here. If you have a bone to pick, the witch is the one you're looking for. It's not any more pleasant for me. Girl's your friend, right? Make her stop all the weirdness. Yeah, friend, that's one way to put it. She's probably sitting in the spectator's seat with a bucket of popcorn about now. She won't come if we just call her. What's going on? Sorry, witch games. The short sentence described all of Leon's feelings at the moment. Yeah, WTF. However, Leon had seen the rose Will through wither in an instant in the rainy darkness. Leon tried doing the same thing with another rose, but the effect was the same. No one would want to use their own body to test this fearsome something that could make roses crumble instantly. Yeah, how quickly would I die if I walked out here? Let's find out. There's only one way for us to be released from here. We gotta play around, along with Berncastell's game. You mean the one about who killed Beatrice? Yep, that's what she's telling us to investigate. You could fill me in, this would go more quickly. That fickle witch, she'll be completely satisfied. You'll get rid of the two of us, and I have a date with Diana when I get back. If I keep her waiting too long, she'll start tearing up the sofa again? What? A cat? Who killed Beatrice, you say? That's hardly something you should go barging into a funeral and asking the family about. Questioning the family is one of the basics of the mystery genre. Just give up and accept it. I do know that Beatrice is the mistress of Kinzo, the family head. You're a strange person. How do you know so much about this family? Are you sure? You have no connections to us? Will knew this much about the Ashiramiya family because Berncastel had shown him all the fragments so far. Of course, he had no sort of connection with the family himself. The very plane of his existence was on a different level. However, Beatrice died a long, long time ago. According to Genji, she passed away before the mansion was completed,
死んだ理由は明らかじゃね
but the reason for her
え。
death is
正
unclear.
直なところ、殺されたってのは初
To be
耳だ。
honest, this is the first I've heard about her being
聞かせ
killed.
てくれ。
Tell me about it.
私の名は後宮リオンと申します。
My name is Ashirami Leon.
ウィラードだ。
Willard.
ウィルでいい。
Call me Will. For the first time, Will introduced himself. Their mutual introduction was finally complete, and Leon was finally able to talk with him on an even footing. However, Leon took a deep breath and looked at the sky, wearing a vague smile.
ウィルさん、
Will-san.
ウィルでいい。
Call me Will.
俺もリオンと呼ぶ。
I'll call you Leon.
ウィル、
Will?
正直なところ、
Will?
私にもベアトリーチェという人物のことがよくわからないのです。
To be honest, even I don't know much about this person called Beatrice.
なるほど。
I see.
一応、ゲームにはなるわけか。
I guess it's called a game for a reason. If only Leon could have told him everything, revealing the truth without any effort from Will. Apparently things wouldn't be so easy after all. Yeah, the new character who doesn't even seem to know the names of the people around them is gonna know everything. The reason she's introduced is probably so you have an excuse to not be immediately kicked out of the funeral. Not so that she can help you with anything, because it doesn't seem like she even knows the name of the servants or some of the people. Maybe she'll match faces to you. She'll be like, oh, I think this is Ava or something. So he knows what they look like, instead of having to just go off a description.
ベアトリーチェの
Or
元
other
姿を
other
後宮
people's
家に出入りす
dialogue.
るもので知らぬものはないでしょう。
Everyone who enters the Ashiramiya family knows the name and image of Beatrice.
大広間にでかい肖像画が飾ってあるからな。
Is that because of the massive portrait hanging in the entrance hall?
肖像画の掲示は1984年の4
Portrait
月
first
だ。
displayed in April of 1984.
本当にあなたはどうしてそんなことまで。
Seriously, how do you know so much?
やれやれ、
Well,
それを疑問に思うのももうやめることにします。
it's about time I stopped finding that odd. Well, at least they stopped complaining.
どうせあ
At
な
least
た
they
にま
realized that they're
た
gonna
煙
stop
に
doing
巻かれ
that.
るんですからね。
I'm sure you'll just start speaking in riddles again. Leon was the successor who lived in the head household. That made conversations with Kinzo an everyday occurrence. Because of this, Leon must have been used to chatting with people who were moody or hard to follow. Poor bastard. Has to hang out with Kinzo, the perpetually rude guy. Oof. With the understanding that getting stuck on the details would be nothing but a waste of time, the conversation naturally fell into a pattern as though Leon and this unknown man Will were longtime friends. I cannot tell if... I assume that is an entrance onto a balcony. I was trying to figure out if that was a window or a door with like 2 inches. Can't tell. Alright.
誰もがベアトリーチェを知っている。
Everyone knows Beatrice,
なのに誰も知らない。
and yet no one knows her.
会ったことがあるのは当主金蔵だけだ。
Kinzo's the only one who's ever met her.
当主様は今日は特にお心が不安定でいらっしゃいます。
Head seems to be particularly cranky
タイミン
today.
グを見て私が紹介しますので、なるべく慎んだ態度でお願いしますよ。ビル
I'll
さん。
introduce you to him when the chance presents itself, so I ask you to develop an appropriately discreet attitude, Wilson. Wilson.
話が早いな。
That was
てっ
quick.
きりもっと非協力的かと思ってた
I
ぜ。
thought you'd resist more than that.
長年当主様のお相手をしていると、
I'm used to speaking with the
大
family
抵
head.
の理不尽な事態とは、ある種の諦めを持って接することができるようにな
I've
りま
learned
す
to
ので。
accept most unreasonable situations and just go with the flow. Yeah, Kinzo, the wizard. That's probably going to be awkward. Bernkastel had set up a barrier cutting the chapel off from the rest of the world. To destroy that, they would have to find out who killed Beatrice, and for Leon, who'd already experienced many of Kinzo's rantings, understanding this much was more than enough. It's like, okay, what do I need to do? Okay, well, I guess I'm doing it. Off to the introductions, I assume. That should be the next scene, unless we get a meta scene next. Let's see, do we have the room with Featherine? Nope, more rain. Ah, here we go. We're in the waiting room to the side of the chapel's main hall. The Yoshiromiya family members were relaxing here and there around the waiting room, and were about to be introduced. A light buffet-style meal had been set up, but it was a bit stale and not particularly appealing. Even so, those voracious kids seemed to find it intensely interesting. Of course it's going to be stale, it was probably sitting out there for like 3 hours. The cousins had set up camp around it with Maria at the center. The adult siblings had also formed a group in a different corner. Perhaps because of Kinzo's absence, everyone seemed to be a little more relaxed.
Leon?
Leon?
どこへ行っていたのですか?
Where did you
そちら
go?
の方は。
Who's that?
母さん、お
Mother?
客様のお相手をしていました。
I was entertaining this guest of
ウィル、
ours.
こちらは母の夏日です。
Will? This is my mother, Natsu.
紹介はいらね
No
え。た
introduction.
だ話を聞かせてくれりゃいい。
Just tell me what you have to say. So rude. Make your detective or wait, we don't have to do that. Doesn't matter.
何かおっ
Did you
しゃ
say
いまして?
something?
いいえ、何も。
No, he said nothing.
こちらはウィルさん。
This is Will-san.
個人に縁ある方だそうです。
Seems he knew the deceased. With a smile, Leon casually smoothed over Will's words.
彼はベアトリーチェのことをより詳しく知りたがっています。
Wants to know more about
母さん
Beatrice.
はベアトリーチェについては
Did you know
何かご存知です
anything
か?
about her mother?
リオン、個人は当主様のかつての恩人です。
Leon, the departed, is an individual to whom the head owed a great
そ
debt.
してそれ以上でもそれ以下の関係でもあ
Nothing
りま
more
せん。
and nothing less.
この葬儀は当主様が個人への生前の恩を報いるためのお式。
The funeral is a ceremony for the head to repay his benefactor for all he received while that person still
そう
lived.
聞いていますし、それ以外のことは何もありません。
That's all I've been told, and there's nothing more to it than that.
ありがとう、母さん。
Thanks,
ウィ
mother.
ル、母が知っていることはこれだけ
Well,
です。
that's all my mother knows. Natsuhi was eager to deny the scandal about Beatrice being Kinzo's mistress. However, she also had enough sense to realize the scandal was probably true. Picking up that Natsuhi was in a bad mood and didn't want to talk about this anymore, Leon brought an end to the conversation before Will could say anything rude
ウィ
again.
ル、この礼拝堂は当家の敷地内です。
This chapel belongs to the family.
当家のルールに従えってか。
You're telling me to follow the family rules?
当家の客人にふさわしい口調に改めていただく。
Speak in a manner appropriate for a guest of the family.
話はすべて私を返していただく。
Let me be the medium for all your conversations. And don't actively antagonize people.
その2つを守っていただけるよ
I
うお
ask
願い
you
い
to
たし
follow
ます。
those two rules.
努力すら。
I'll work on that.
ベルーンカステルとかいう魔女に巻き込まれて大いに迷惑です。
This mess, this Berncastel witch or whatever has dragged us into is a real
で
pain.
すから私も協力はします。
Because of that, I'm willing to help you.
しかしあなたと私の立場は対等ですので
But we're equal
それを
partners
お
in
忘
this
れに
job.
なりませんよ。
You'd best not forget that.
育ちがいいだけのお坊ちゃんだと思ってたら。
And here, I thought you were just some well-bred rich
なか
kid.
なか言うな。
Seems you can speak up after all.
これでも後宮家の未来を背負う覚悟はありますので。
I must be prepared to shoulder the Yoshimiya family's future after all.
わかった。
Got it.
仲良く事件を解決しようぜ。ワトソン君。
Let's solve this crime together, Watson.
ご協力いただけて嬉しいです。
I'm glad I can
愛
help.
病のダイアナを待たせないためにも。
I wouldn't want to keep your dear cat Diana
餌
waiting.
の時間は大丈夫ですか?
Won't she need to be fed soon?
今日は山盛りにしてある。
I gave her extra
多
food
少は
today.
大丈夫だ。
Should be good for a while.
よくダイアナが猫のことだと分かったな
I'm。surprised you realized Diana was a cat.
ソファーを引っかえて待ちわびる女性というのも少々個性的が過ぎると思いましたので。
I figured it'd be just a bit too eccentric for her to be a human woman who scratches at sofas when you keep her waiting.
ふん。
それで
So,
まずは誰に話を?
who will you talk to first?
誰でもいい。
Anyone.
全員だ。
Everyone.
あそこにいるのはクラウスの兄弟たちか。
Those over there are Krause's siblings, right?
向かって右からエヴァおばさん、
From right to left, there's Aunt Ava,
秀吉おじさん、
Uncle Hideyoshi,
あちらがルドルフおじさん、
Over there is Uncle Rudolph.
キリエおばさん。
Aunt Kyrie.
そしてあちらが
And over there is
後ろ宮ローザか。
Ushiromiya Rosa.
少女時代に森をさまよい、隠し館でベアトリーチェと名乗る女に遭遇した経験を持つ。
When she was a girl, she once got lost in the forest and bumped into a woman calling herself Beatrice in a hidden mansion.
驚くまいとは思っていますが、
I know I shouldn't be surprised
本
anymore.
当にあなたは何でも知っている。
You really do know everything, don't you?
お前もその話は知っているのか。
Ah, so you know about that story too?
今日、彼女がそう話しているのを漏れ聞きました。
I managed to overhear her saying that today.
辛そうな話でしたので、聞こえないふりをしましたが。
It looked as though it was bothering her, so I pretended not to hear.
優等生だな。
Real model student, you are.
紹介してくれ。
Introduce me.
話を聞きたい。
I want to ask about it.
辛そうな話でしたので、聞こえないふりをした優等生の私に
And you're asking this of the model student who pretended not to hear because it might be a painful topic? Even this outrageous arrogance is nothing compared to Kinzo. After muttering this several times mentally, Leon shrugged and nodded at Will. Mr. Manners. Yeah,
次
sure.
期当主様じゃない。
Oh, it's successor
そ
sama.
ちらの方は
And who might this be?
ああ、エヴァおばさん。
Ah,
こ
Aunt
ちら
Ava.
はウィルさん。
This is Will-san.
個人のために献花に訪れてくれました。
He came to offer flowers for the departed.
んなことはどうでもいい。
But who cares about that? Manners! Manners!
ベアトリーチェについて知って。
Tell me everything you know about.
個人と後ろ宮家の関わりについてお話を聞きたいと言っています。
He says he wants to know what sort of relationship the Ishiyamiya family has had with the deceased. Leon spoke with a bright smile after pinching Will's butt. Will silently protested as though saying, I saw that coming, but damn, that hurt. Leon just played dumb and smiled at Ava like a model student.
後ろ宮家との関わりっ
Oh,
て言ってもね。
even if you say relationship with the Ishiyamiya family.
後ろ宮家とちゅうよりお父さんとの関わりっちゅうべきやろな。
It probably makes more sense to say her relationship with father.
正直に言えばいいのさ。
No need to beat around the
親
bush.
父の愛人ってな。
She's father's mistress.
愛人なんて言うとまた夏日姉さんに怒られるわよ。
If you call her that, Nazi and sounds gonna yell at you.
恩人でしょ。
He's indebted to her, right?
そうやな。
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Indebted.
こんな具合ですが、
And there you have it.
ローザ以外には興味ね。
I have no interest in anyone but Rosa.
ローザおばさんは確かベアトリーチェに会ったことがあると。
I do believe you said you met with Beatrice, Aunt Rosa. Rosa sweating nervously. The whole time Rosa had been hanging her head. Leon's words made her shoulders quiver.
今日になって急に言い出したのよ。
She just suddenly came out with it
ち
today.
ょっと信じがたい話だわ。
It's a bit hard to believe.
本当なのよ。
It's the truth.
ベアトリーチェは
I
私
killed
が殺したの。
Beatrice.
事件解決だな。
Perfect, our work is finished.
早計です。
Don't get ahead of yourself. Rosa broke down crying and laid her head on the table. Kyrie and Hideyoshi tried to console her.
六軒島はうっそうとした森に包まれてる。
Rokkenjima is covered by a dense
私た
forest.
ちが知っているのはそのうちのごくわずか。
We only know about one tiny portion of it.
屋敷と
Just the
バラ庭
mansion?
園、
The Rose
そ
Garden?
して船着き場に向かうちょっとした
And the
林道だ
Path
け。
that leads to the harbor.
誰も知らない広大な森のどこかに親父が隠れ屋敷を作って。
For years, there's been stories about how Dad built a hidden mansion somewhere in the vast forest no one knew about.
愛人を住まわせてるんじゃないかって話は
But he had a
相当
mistress
の昔からあった
living
んだ
there.
ローザさんは多分その隠れ屋敷に偶然たどり着いてしまったっちゅうんやろな。
Rosa-san probably stumbled on the hidden mansion by chance.
しかし、どうしてローザおばさんはベアトリーチェを殺したなどと。
What does this have to do with Aunt Rosa killing Beatrice?
私が連れ出さなければ彼女は死なずに済んだわ。
If I hadn't taken her out with me, she never would have
彼女
died.
は無垢なひよこのような
She was so
人だったわ。
Like a child.
私が連れ出したから素直についてきた。
I took her out. She just followed along
何も
obediently.
疑わずに私の後をぴったりついてきて、
She stayed right behind me. She trusted me completely.
私が
あんな足場の悪いところを歩かせてしまったか
Because
ら
I made her take such a dangerous path.
お前は崖から足を踏み外すことを期待してそこを歩かせたのか。
Did you make her walk that way because you were hoping she'd slip and fall from the cliff?
そんなつもりはなかった。
I never meant to do that.
ただ海が見たいと思って。
I just thought she'd like to see the ocean.
歩きづらそうだったから。
It looked like the path would be hard to walk.
下に降りれば少しは楽になるかなと思って。
I thought it would be easier if we went down the cliff first.
それは殺したとは言わねえ。
That's not what it means to kill
事
someone.
故だ。
It was an accident.
私が連れ出さなければ合わなかった事故よ。
An accident she never would have had if I had brought her with me, right?
私のせいなの。
It's my fault.
それに私は血まみれの彼女を見捨てて逃げ帰ってしまった。
And I abandoned her when she was covered in blood and ran home.
あんたのせいじゃね
It isn't
え。
your
ベアト
fault.
リーチェは海を一度も見たことがなかった。
Beatrice had never seen the ocean before.
あんたが初めて見せたんだ。
You showed her that for the first
つ
time
い
ever.
浮かれて一歩踏み外しちまったんだろう。
She was probably so excited she happened to take a bad step. Leon trying to console someone instead of actively antagonizing them? What happened, Mr. Manners? How can you know that?
ベアトリーチェはあんたに感謝こそすれ恨んでるわけもね。
Beatrice might thank you for what you did, but she'd never hate you.
そうかしら。
Really? Is that
本当にそうなのかしら。
really true?
柵の外の世界へ出たいと懇願したのは彼女だろう。
She's the one who begged to see the world outside the fence,
お
right?
前はその夢を束の間だけ叶えたんだ。
So it was only for a short while you made the dream of hers come
俺
true.
がベアトリーチェならその束の間の時間をお前に感謝する
If I were Beatrice, I'd thank you for that short bit of time.
なのにお前がいつまでも苦しんでると知ったら
If
申し
she
訳
knew
なく
that
思
you'd
う
been
だ。
suffering all this time for it, she'd probably feel sorry for you.
ベアトリーチェはお前に感謝してる。
She's grateful for what you did.
海が青いってことを
You're the one who
教
taught
え
her
てくれたあんたをな。
the sea is blue.
それは本当に。
True?
俺が保証する。
I guarantee it. Will made that statement openly and boldly. It wasn't clear how Rosa took those words. However, it apparently was enough to remind Rosa to take a handkerchief from her pocket and wipe her eyes with it.
ありがとう。
Thank you.
その言葉はベアトリーチェが今もあんたにささやいてる。
Those are the words Beatrice whispers to you even now.
ありがとう。
Rosa wiped her eyes with the handkerchief one more time and hung her head. It no longer looked like a fit of sobbing, but more as though she was speaking with the Beatrice of that day within her heart. One last time.
よくもそんな無責任な言葉を堂々とかけられるものです。
You really have no problem making claims you could never back up, don't you?
責任がなけりゃ
Back up?
女を慰めることもできねえのか。
Is that really necessary to comfort a woman?
多少は見直しました。
Seems I underestimated you. How many years did it torment Rosa? And now finally she'd probably be able to face that innocently smiling Beatrice who'd seen the ocean for the first time in her life. She's the only one who could forgive Rosa, and now the two of them could finally speak together.
どなたか存じないけれどありがとう。
Don't know who you are, but thank
彼
you.
女は私を許してくれるかしら。
Wonder if she'll forgive me.
あんたは20年近くもそれを悩んだ。
You've worried about it nearly 20
長
years.
すぎだ。
That's way too long.
彼女はもう勘弁しろと言ってだ。
She'll tell you that you've suffered more than enough already.
そうですよ、ローザーバさん。
That's right, Aunt Rosa.
あなたが悲しめば悲しむほど、きっとベアトリーチェも
The
悲しむ
sadder
でし
you
ょう。
are, the sadder Beatrice would be. It was over 20 years ago. Clearly, it's not the death that we just noticed like a couple days ago. Or you were holding a funeral now, right? You
あり
too.
がとう。
Thank you.
私には私が許されるかどうかわからないけれど
I don't know if I'll be forgiven.
彼女が許してくれるかどうか胸の中で問い
I'll
かけ
keep
てみることにす
speaking
る。
to my heart. See whether she'll forgive me or not.
二人とも
Thanks, you too.
恥ずかしいところを見せてごめんなさい。
Sorry for showing you such an embarrassing side of me.
綺麗事を言った舌の根も乾かねえうちで恐縮だが
And I'm sorry to say this right after saying something so
聞かせ
pretty,
てほしい
but I want you to talk
当
to
時の
me
ことを
and tell me what happened back then.
ウィルさん、
Wilson.
ありがとう。大丈夫？
Thanks, but it's fine. Save Leon. No longer babysitting Billy. Yeah,
話すわ。
I'll talk.
誰にも話さずにずっと隠してきたことが
Maybe they picked the name Lion because Saber really likes lions in Stay Night. After all, that's the plushie she picks. And the animal she likes dressing up as, I think, in Carnival Phantasm? Right? Like her favorite, it's her favorite animal. Favorite real one at any rate. I'll talk. Hiding this and keeping quiet about it for so long might have been my greatest sin.
お前がベアトリーチェに出会ったのは
Exactly when was it you met Beatrice? Upon hearing this question, Rosa closed her eyes lightly, reaching back to a past she didn't want to remember.
20年ほど昔の話よ。
It was about 20 years ago. A long time ago.
20... いえ、
20 now.
19年前か
It might have been
18
19
年
or
前か
18.
もしれない。ごめんなさい。
Sorry.
長いこと無理に忘れようとしてきたものだから、そこは少し忘れかけてるわ。
Tried to force myself to forget it for so long, I've nearly forgotten that part completely.
1967年のことのは
Would
ず
have
だ
been 1967.
かつて第3のゲームでロノウェが赤き真実でそれを確定させた
Runaway guaranteed that with Red Truth in the third game.
そうね。
That's
多
right.
分1967年頃だわ。
It's probably about 1967.
あの時の出来事は写真のように鮮明に覚えている。
Remember what happened as clearly as a picture.
忘れられない
I'll
の。
never forget.
辛かったら無理に話す必要はありませんので。
It's tough for you. Don't feel like you have to tell us.
写真のように鮮明に頼む
Clear as a picture if you don't mind. Getting a Saber doing a lot of pinching here.
痛えぞリオン
Damn it. That hurts, Leon.
何のことやら？
What does?
家庭教師が私の内緒話を母に告げ口していたのに。
At the time, I was in a state of shock. My tutor told my mother about something that was supposed to be a
あの
secret.
日、私は自暴自棄になって
On that
森
time,
の
I-
奥へ奥へ
On that
ど
day,
こまでもかけていったの。
I became reckless. I kept on running deeper and deeper into the forest. This tale had also been told in the previous fragment. Back when Rosa was just a kid, she went deep into the forest, found a hidden mansion, and met with a mysterious woman who called herself Beatrice.
ほんの少し分け入ることすら難しいあの深い森を
The forest is so thick, even pushing your way through a bit of it's hard, right?
自分でも驚くわ。
I surprised even myself
あんなうっそうとした森を
to think I
よ
made
く
it
も
so
あんな
far
に
in,
深くまで
into such a dense
たく
forest.
さんの梢や鋭い葉っぱで苛まれた
I
わ。
was tormented by twigs and sharp leaves over and over again,
でも
but that wasn't
あの
enough.
日の私は気
Not
に
enough
し
to
なかっ
bother me on that
た。
day.
森の奥へ消えることで永
After all,
遠に消えてしまいたかった
I
し、
wanted to vanish into the forest and disappear forever.
もし本当に森の奥に魔女の館があったなら
If by some chance there really was a witch's mansion in the depths of the
自
forest,
分を幸せの国へ連れて行ってくれるかカエルにでも変えて森の住人に変えてくれると思っていたか
I
ら
was hoping she might take me to some paradise or else turn me into a frog and make me a resident of the forest.
そしてあんたは隠し屋敷クアドリアンにたどり着き
And so you reached the hidden mansion
そ
Kuadorian,
こでベアトリーチェと名乗る女と出会う
meeting a woman who called herself Beatrice.
ええ
Yes, yes,
あったわ
I met her.
そのベアトリーチェは肖像画のベアトリーチェと同
Was
一人物
that
だった
Beatrice the same one as the one in the portrait?
ええ
Yes,
同一人物だったわ
they were the same person.
美しい青い瞳
Beautiful blue eyes,
黄金の髪
golden hair,
黒いドレス
a black
ま
dress.
さにあの肖像画通りの人
It
物
was the
だ
person in the
私
portrait.
はあの肖像画をお父様が掲げ
And
た
father
時
first had it hung.
私が忘れようとあがいた20年の月日はお父様にとっても同じ
I realized that the 20 years I'd spent trying to forget must have seemed just as long for father, if not even
あるい
longer.
はそれ以上の日々であったと気づき
I became even more
さら
fearful of
な
my
る罪
sin.
に怯えたわそれ
Stop there.
本当にローザさんの出会ったベアトリーチェのことなのかしら。
Are you sure this is the same Beatrice that Rosa-san met? Immediately, Kyrie spoke the question that Will had been thinking of. It would be too rash to assume that Beatrice Kinzo met and the one Rosa met were the same person. The time and generation didn't match up.
ベアトリーチェってのは戦後すぐの頃親父に黄金を貸し付けた勇敢マダムのはず
Beatrice
だぜ
is supposed to be the lady of leisure who lent Dad all the gold shortly after the war, right?
お父さんはベアトリーチェの黄金を元手に後ろ宮家を復興して大金持ちになり
By using Beatrice's gold as a foundation, Father revived the Ushiromiya family and got super
そ
rich.
して六軒島を買い取り移住するんや
Then he bought Rockenjima and moved
ロー
over.
ザさんが出会ったのはそれから10年以上も先の話
Rosa
にな
meeting
る
her must have been at least 10 years after that.
10トンの黄金を自在にできるご婦人が小娘程度のわけはない。
Woman who could do as she pleased with 10 tons of gold could hardly be some little
ま
girl.
してやローザが会った頃にはそれからさらに10年以上が経過
And
して
10
る。
more years passed before she met Rosa.
ローザ、
Rosa?
あんたの会ったベアトリーチェはいくつくらいに見えたのよ。
How old did the Beatrice you met look?
当時の私よりは年上に見えたけれど
You looked older than I was at the
そ
time.
れでも
Even so,
多分成人したかどうかという
it looks
年に
as
見えた
though
わ
she might just be reaching adulthood.
そうまさに肖像画のベアトリーチェくらいの年齢よ
Sort of age of the Beatrice in the portrait.
中年あるいは壮年に見えたか
Did she look middle-aged or past her prime?
大人か子供かって言われたら明らかに子供に近い年齢だったわ
If I had to call her an adult or a child, she was clearly closer to being a
中
child.
年なんてとんでもない
There's no way she was middle-aged.
だからそれじゃお
Isn't
か
that
しいの
strange?
よ。
You're saying, yeah, you're implying that father met like a
あん
10-year-old?
たの会ったベアトリーチェとお父様に黄金を与えたベアトリーチェ。
We have the Beatrice you met and the Beatrice who gave father the
年
gold.
齢が合わないのよ。
Their ages don't match.
つまり別人ということだ
In other words, they're different people.
よく似た同じ名前の別人。
Different people who look similar and have the same name.
娘かもしれんな
Perhaps their daughter?
親子ならよく似とったに違いない
A kid would obviously end up looking like their mother.
愛人の娘。
His mistress's
ありえるわ。
daughter. It's possible.
黄金を授けたベアトリーチェとの間にお父さんは隠し子を設けた。
Perhaps father had an illegitimate child with the Beatrice who gave him the gold.
それがローザの出会ったベアトリーチェ2世ってわけか
And then Rosa bumps into Beatrice the
年齢
second.
的辻褄は合うな
The ages fit just fine.
なるほど。
I
つま
see.
りベアトリーチェと呼ばれる人物は2人いるわけですね。
In other words, there are two people who can be called Beatrice. Kinzo secretly raised his mistress's child in a hidden mansion. It made sense, everyone nodded, agreeing. However, Will's expression was slightly unsatisfied and he scratched his head.
どうやらこの葬儀は
It would seem
隠したがゆえに弔うことができなかった2人のベアトリーチェのためのようですね。
this funeral exists for the two Beatrices he couldn't mourn because they were kept secret.
ローザ
Rosa?
思い出したくねえだろうが事故の時の話を
I know you don't want to remember, but tell me about the
ベアトリー
accident.
チェが転落した時まだ息はあったの
After Beatrice fell, was she still breathing?
いいえ
No.
目を大きく見開いていた
Her eyes were wide open.
頭から真っ逆さまに落ちて岩浜の岩の鋭い角に頭をぶつけて
She fell upside down headfirst and knocked her head against a sharp crag on the rocky
そ
beach.
れも
She fell
あ
from
の高さから
such a height.
頭部は陥没して裂けてたわ
Her skull had split and caved
美
inwards.
しい黄金の髪がみるみるうちに赤黒く溢
Beautiful
れるうち
golden
に染
hair
められ
was
て
stained red with blood almost
一目見
instantly.
て死んだと確信できる外傷だったのか
Was it the sort of wound that clearly showed she was dead?
ええ
Yes.
割れた頭の中身を見たわ
I saw the insides of her cracked
それ
head.
も握り拳次第に陥没して
It caved in deep enough to fit your fist inside of it. That is a lot of
あ
damage.
れを見て生きててほしいなんていくらなんでも虫が良すぎるわ
No one would be naive enough to see that and hope she was still alive.
ウィル、
Will.
それ以上聞く必要はありますか？
Need to ask anything more?
事故じゃもういい
That's enough for the time of the
それ
accident.
からあんたはどうした
What'd you do afterwards?
一目散に
I
駆け出し
ran
た
away at full speed.
誰かを呼びに行くためなんて綺麗事でさえな
I
い
can't say I was thinking about calling for help.
その場から 一刻も早く逃げ出したかった
I
の。
wanted to escape that place as fast as I could.
錯乱状態になりながら涙と荒い息でめちゃくちゃになりな
Yeah,
がら
she's
でたら
super
めに
dead.
どこまでも
Half crazed, sobbing, and out of breath, I kept on running about at
そした
random.
らいつの間にか見知ったライオンの彫像に出くわした
Eventually, I came across a familiar lion statue.
ああ、礼拝堂の前の
Oh, the one in front of the chapel.
いいえ
No,
裏のよ
the one behind it.
とにかく私は屋敷に帰り着いた
Anyway, I made it back to the
誰
mansion.
にも話せない
I couldn't
話した
tell
くな
anyone.
い
I didn't want
私
to.
は夜まで黙っていたわ
I stayed quiet until nightfall.
ひどい
That's
話
so horrible of me.
急いで誰かに話し救急箱を持って戻っていたら彼女を助けられたか
If
も
I'd
しれ
hurried
ないの
and
に
told someone, they might have brought a first aid kit. She might have been saved. I like how, not like 10 lines earlier, she's like, there's no way anyone would ever believe she was still alive. Anyway, if we brought a first aid kit, she would have been saved. It's like, she's like insistent that she was completely dead. So dead that nothing could have saved her, but also concerned about not bringing back a first aid kit.
頭蓋骨陥没を救急箱の何で救
How
え
would
た
a
っての
first aid kit help with the crushed
お前
cranium?
が殺したわけじゃない。
You didn't kill
も
her.
う気にするな。
Don't worry about it anymore.
それでローザおばさんはど
What
うし
did
たん
you
で
do
すか
next?
ベッドで何度も寝返りを打ったわ
At night, I turned over in my bed so many times. I couldn't sleep.
深夜にこっそり
Late in the night, I quietly
源氏さんに電話して打ち明けた
I
わ
quietly called Genji-san on the phone and told him.
源氏は何と言った
What did he say?
自分に全て任せ誰にもこのことは言わな
He
いよう
told me
に
to let him handle everything. Speak of this to no.
後日きっとお父様に呼び出されてひどく叱られるだろうと数日の間怯えたわ
I spent the next several days terrified father would call for me and scold me brutally.
でもそれはなかった源氏さんはいつものようにしずしずと仕事をする日々
Genji-san kept on doing his job quietly, just like normal.
お父様は相変わらずの書斎ごもりで
How many people did they kill on this island, I wonder? Father stayed locked up in his study, not knowing any of it.
少なくとも
And at the
私た
very
ちの
least,
耳には入らなかったわ。
none of us ever heard about it.
源氏さんがうまく処理してくれたんだろうね。
Genji-san probably managed to clean everything up nicely.
表沙汰にできない子だったでしょ
After
う
all,
か
they
らね。
couldn't let the knowledge of that child go public.
隠し子っちゅうたって血を分けた子供や
Even if she's an illegitimate child, she's still his daughter by blood.
その葬式もまともにあげられんかったんならそらお父さんも心苦しかったやろな
It must have been tough for father not being able to hold a real funeral for her.
それがこの葬儀というわけですね
Suppose that's why we're having this funeral.
それから
And then,
私が知っている
that's
話
all I
は
know.
これです
俺が知っている話も
That's all I
そ
know
れで
too.
全てだ。
これ以上私は何も隠していない
Not hiding
全
anything
て
else.
話した
I've told you everything.
誓うわ
I swear. Will scratched his head, letting his gaze wander. It had taken Rosa a lot of determination to make this confession, but it was nothing particularly special for Will. I mean, we already knew just about everything there. It had apparently been little more than a review of information he already knew.
ありがとうローザおばさん
Thanks, Aunt Rosa.
十分ですかウィル
Is that enough for you, Will?
これで話は
Are you satisfied?
十分だ。
That's enough.
おさらいになった。
It was a nice review. To Will, Rosa's memories only gave information that was already known. This was the first time he'd heard about all that about her running back to the mansion after Beatrice fell to her death, but none of it was particularly surprising. The most useful information that he probably got from that was the call to Genji, which means Genji knows something. That might be his next clue. Apparently Rosa didn't know any more than this. If he wanted to learn more than what was in the fragments Berncastel gave him, he'd need to find new testimony.
リオン、
Leon.
金蔵に俺が話を聞きたがってると伝えろ。
Tell Kinzo I want to
や
talk to
はり
him.
本人に聞かなきゃ話は進まね
Looks like we won't get anywhere without talking to the man himself.
あなたはどちらへ
Where are you
え。
going?
頭を冷やして整理する。
I'm gonna cool my head and organize my
ついてくん
thoughts.
な。
Don't follow.
それは失礼
Well, excuse. Pardon?
どうぞごゆっくり
Please, take your time. After giving an elegant bow, Leon made a face, tongue sticking out. Unless Will had eyes on the back of his head, he couldn't have seen that last bit. will return to the chapel by himself and is left in an interesting position, but one I'm afraid we're not going to be able to investigate tonight.